Super Television. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 176. The Powerful Nymphomaniac. Shen Tingting rolled her eyes suddenly. I judge people by appearance? I don't know who it is, but he just praised how handsome he is. You, Shen Tingtsai, I'm going to fight you. Stop it. Shen Tingting interrupted the people around her and stared at a young man not far in front of her. He had short hair, black clothes, and a smile at the corner of his mouth that seemed to have never changed. Blinking, Shen Tingting thought she was seeing things. What? After not seeing you for a few days, has Monitor Shen forgotten me? Li Jing smiled slightly. Hey, is it really you? Shen Tingting slowly approached and looked at Li Jing carefully with some disbelief. He had grown taller and seemed to be more handsome. What kind of logic was this? Is it so hard to recognize? Shen Tingting shook her head. You have changed so much, haven't you, in such a short time? Have you gone for beauty treatment? Li Jing was speechless for a moment. He was naturally aware of his own changes. This was the inevitable result of cell evolution, because the more it evolved, the more organisms would leap towards the perfect stage under the premise of sufficient energy. And this was just a slight adjustment on the body shape, just a side thing in the evolution with survival as the ultimate goal. It was not a big deal at all. Stop being nosy. This is your friend, right? Don't you want to introduce it? Li Jing changed the subject and threw the burden directly to another girl who had been ignored by Shen Tingting. Ah, handsome guy. My name is Yu Myron. Ah no, that's my online name. My real name is Good Skin. What did I say? Shen Tingting, you should answer me quickly. The girl's eyes were fixed on Li Jing's face, and she didn't even have time to blink during the conversation. And Shen Tingting covered her face speechlessly. It was really embarrassing. So early in the morning. What are you doing? Even though he was used to seeing such scenes, to be honest, this was the first time he had seen such a powerful love-lore man. Li Jing could only change the subject again, because the previous questioning had directly caused this freak with powerful attributes to completely rebound, which was comparable to Akaya Madara's flame fan. Let's not talk about where we are going. Why are you here? Shen Tingting automatically filtered out the people around her who were having problems, and tried to keep the topic at a normal level. As for me, I just moved here. Moved here? Live here? Shen Tingting turned her head and looked at the large villa next to her. What? Is it strange? Li Jing's tone was flat, and he was not surprised by Shen Tingting's reaction. No, it's just a little unexpected. Shen Tingting also understood that the previous words had a slightly contemptuous meaning, but she felt a little surprised because she knew Li Jing's situation. Yeah, Li Jing nodded slightly. I understand. I live in the building in front. I'll come over when I'm free. If you have something to do, go ahead and I'll take a walk. Oh, okay. Shen Tingting was still a little absent-minded, until Li Jing walked away. Her friends around her came to their senses first and shook Shen Tingting's arm. Tingting, tell me, are we good friends and lesbians? Shen Tingting, who came to her senses, found that Li Jing had disappeared. She nodded, and then shook her head violently. We are good friends, but definitely not lesbians. Hee. Good friends are fine. Tingting, you know that handsome guy, right? Stop talking nonsense, you crazy girl. Do you still want to say? Tingting, what's the name of that handsome guy? Where is he from? Does he have a girlfriend? What's his phone number? And what are his measurements? The girl nodded violently, and the chicken pecking rice style has been practiced to perfection. Shen Tingting responded with an eye roll, and it was as big as it could be. This kid is really hopeless. No matter how many medicines he takes, it doesn't work. Stop it. He already has a girlfriend. You'd better give up this idea as soon as possible. What? Girlfriend? That's too bad. I, a young, stunning and sexy beautiful girl, haven't had time to make a move yet. Damn it. Beating her chest and stamping her feet, the girl only performed the crazy attribute to the fullest. Okay. Shen Tingting took a step back slightly, looking left and right, afraid that there were hundreds of guys squatting in some corner around, peeping and watching the fun. A good cabbage, but the pig got it first. Bad luck. The girl was dejected, and her energy and spirit dropped by 99% directly. Shen Tingting's face was extremely ugly, and she was too lazy to say another word, and she directly pulled the good lesbian in front of her and ran away. She was afraid that if she talked about this topic for a long time, she would not be able to help but beat this girl with a stick. The two left, and Li Jing took a walk and returned to his place again. As for Shen Tingting's appearance, he didn't really care at all. Boss, up to now, the total number of downloads of the Tanyan subsystem in the world is 1.2 billion, and the rising data has begun to slow down. Yeah, Li Jing nodded. There are more than 7 billion people in the world, and some of them don't have mobile phones and other electronic devices. Some of them are also removed, and the elderly and children are also removed. The rest are probably either waiting and watching, or they are not clear about the emergence of intelligent systems. Less than a month, the time is not long. Being able to have more than 1 billion downloads in such a short period of time can be regarded as a sudden rise and a big trend. Is the information stored in the archives? Boss, the database has been established and perfected, and the information of every downloaded user has been filed. Well, let's select the first batch of trial personnel first. The number is 100. Okay, boss. The voice of Tanyan fell silent, and Li Jing also got up from the chair and stood by the window. Trial, form logistics team. After the system upgrade is completed, there will definitely be significant changes. Li Jing still remembers what the butler said. After he becomes an intermediate master selector, he can bring other people with him when traveling through time and space. Compared with leaking secrets, having an exclusive and efficient logistics team will obviously bring more benefits. What's more, Li Jing no longer cares about the risk of leaking secrets. As for why he didn't choose ready-made talent with superb martial arts in other time and space, but had to screen them on Earth, and start from scratch, consuming resources to cultivate them, Li Jing has already considered this thoroughly. There are two key purposes for selecting members of the logistics team on Earth. First, the Earth is the home court. The butler has mentioned long ago that the benefits of changing the Earth's time and space will be great, so even if we don't cultivate talents on Earth now, we will also involve this consideration in the future. It is better to be proactive early than passive late. Chapter 177 Family Matters. Second, there are three issues about talents, values, outlook on life, and worldview. Although talents from different time and space are strong, their concepts are very different from those on Earth. This is the multifaceted influence of the education system and the living environment. Therefore, talents from different time and space will be used, but talents on Earth also need to be cultivated. Although Li Jing can change a person through the power of the eyes of all things, it is impossible to waste the power of the eyes in this way. Because it is easy to change a person, what if there are more? What if it is continuous? In Li Jing's view, the team he formed is a kind of consumption of resources. It is impossible to sacrifice or replace them at any time. It is impossible for everyone to use the power of the eyes to change their personality, because it is completely unnecessary. Dong Li Jing was still thinking about things, but someone knocked on the door of the study. Come in. The door opened and the person came in. It was Li Jing's assistant Zhang Xin, who was wearing a professional women's suit, black and white, tall, and looked neat and tidy. Boss, you're looking for me? I'll be out for a while in the next 2 days. If you need anything, please contact me through the smart housekeeper. Li Jing didn't look back. Do you want me to arrange transportation for you? No need. You stay here and help me keep an eye on the company. Okay, I'll remember that. Seeing Li Jing waving his hand, Zhang Xin automatically left the study and closed the door. In just a few minutes, without stopping again, Li Jing, who was standing by the window, disappeared. With the space-time ninjutsu, Li Jing can now rely on precise perception to lock coordinates. In theory, as long as the energy is sufficient, he can move unlimitedly, and the longest distance in normal state is 4,000 kilometers. This is just the precise movement data. If it is transmitted in an approximate direction, then in Li Jing's current situation, in theory, it can be directly transmitted over tens of thousands of kilometers, or even hundreds of thousands of kilometers. In terms of space movement, Distance only represents a consumption problem. Shandong, Dezhou. Starting from Sioux City, the journey of nearly 900 kilometers is reached in a flash. Standing on a tall building, Li Jing looked at the very familiar street below, and his mind was mixed at this time. It has been less than a year since he went to school, but the actual time of traveling through time and space has passed for more than 10 years. Shaking his head and smiling slightly, Li Jing disappeared again. This part of the city is not his home yet, but his home is in a small village in the lower county. Dirt roads, bungalows, and farmland. This small village with less than 1,000 households. Only the main road out of the village has been renovated into an asphalt road. Standing at the entrance of the village, Li Jing walked towards home like a stroll. This time, he did not plan to show up, but used his supernatural power to change his color to transparent and invisible. Li Jing did not care about the eyes of outsiders, but when he thought about the questions about his parents, he couldn't help but feel a little headache. The purpose of going home this time was just to give protection to the two elders, otherwise, it would be better to take a car back openly. When he got home, Li Jing's parents were both there, and there was nothing to do in the farmland during this time. Dad and Mom, compared to the old age in my memory, the only difference is that they seem to be more busy. In less than a year, half of the hair on the heads of the two old people has even turned gray. After walking around the house for a few times and looking at Dad and Mom, Li Jing also felt a little bit of the change of time. He was carefree when he was a child, and rebellious and jumpy when he grew up, but he never thought much about his parents who gave birth to him and raised him. Shaking his head slightly, Li Jing was not in a hurry, but came to his yard to find a place to sit down and play with a puppy who had not been seen for a long time and had become a mother. Time passed slowly until the evening came and the parents had gone to bed. Li Jing got up and went into the house again. Hoo-hoo in the bedroom. The snoring of the old man was deafening. Li Jing smiled slightly when he saw this. It was said that quitting smoking would probably be difficult in this life. Shaking his head and laughing, Li Jing stretched out his palm, and a stream of black nanoworms split into two paths and sank into the bodies of the two old people in an instant. Nanoworms have many functions, including healing, curing diseases, regeneration, and repair. Naturally, they also have the control ability that Li Jing often uses. In addition, the biggest function of nanoworms is to devour and destroy at a very fast speed. There are many effects, both good and bad, but it depends on how the person in control uses them. At this time, Li Jing used these little things to regulate the body of his parents and treat hidden diseases, and then lurked in the bodies of the two elderly people, and when necessary, they could also play a role in healing and saving lives. Under Li Jing's careful control, the two elderly people did not feel anything unusual, and even slept more sweetly. After the first step was completed, Li Jing used the seal again to seal a lot of vitality in the bodies of the two elderly people. These vitality will not make the two elderly people younger overnight, but will subtly change their bodies, making them stronger and stronger, and less susceptible to erosion by external objects. After doing all this, Li Jing activated the nanoworms again and poured them into the building of the house. These nanoworms are also lurking and will not be activated normally. Only when an accident occurs will they be used as a backhand to activate defense. Finally, several nanoworm soldiers transformed by the members of the 8 divisions and several nanoworm creatures were hidden in the ground in the yard. All the defense facilities were prepared. This was done for no other reason than to be prepared. After looking at his parents again, Li Jing walked out of the room. As his abilities became higher and higher, he mastered more and more things, so there was a long time to come, and he could do his filial piety little by little. Standing in the yard, Li Jing, who was about to leave directly, suddenly paused slightly, then shook his head and laughed, and walked to his doghouse. Woo tilde without invisibility. The female dog who was feeding the puppies bared her teeth and growled at Li Jing. Li Jing smiled slightly, and the nanoworms in his hand sank into the bodies of several puppies again. If outsiders saw this situation, they might scold Li Jing, because this was simply too extravagant. They were all very ordinary stupid dogs and local dogs, It was estimated that the money from selling a litter of dogs could not buy a nanoworm that was invisible to the naked eye. But Li Jing doesn't care. As long as he likes it, he will do whatever he wants. Picking up a little black dog that just opened its eyes, Li Jing's figure has disappeared. When he appears again, he is already thousands of miles away. Sky, bring up the map. Okay, boss. P.S. Thanks to the book friend of Stickman GT for the reward. Thanks to the Loki passerby and all the friends for the monthly tickets. Thank you all for your support. Mew. Chapter 178 Base Site Selection. Ding. A three-dimensional image of a planet popped up from Li Jing's wrist. As an S-level intelligent system, Danyan had already opened a back door for itself in the satellite systems of various countries when it was first born. Although it takes some effort for it, it is not a difficult task. Mark the selected place and zoom in. Boss. Immediately, Ding. The map was zoomed in, but it was above the Pacific Ocean. An island marked as a red dot appeared, located in the center of the Pacific Ocean, south of the Hawaiian Islands. Boss, this island has an area of 52 square kilometers. Too small. Find a slightly larger one. Don't worry about the population on it. Okay, boss. It didn't take long before Danyan's voice sounded again. Boss, find an area of no need to look for it, just this one. What? Danyan was stunned in a very human way, because Li Jing didn't look at the island it marked at all, but looked at the Hawaiian Islands in the center of the Pacific Ocean. No way, boss, the population here is over 1 million. If we build a base here, we will definitely conflict with the local armed forces. Li Jing shook his head slightly. So what? If it's delivered to my door, I don't mind 1 million extra laborers. Boss, but in this way, won't we attract the attention of countries around the world? Although you don't care about these at all, but focusing all attention on us, it's not good to have any action. Sky, you still don't understand. I say, and you do it. As for the countries around the world, it doesn't matter. With the sink of time, the gap between us will only get bigger and bigger. What's more, it's only a matter of time before we are discovered by other countries. Otherwise, you'll have to be an underground rat for the rest of your life. I see, boss. Li Jing nodded slightly. Although Sky is humanized and intelligent, there are still many things that are not considered properly. If Li Jing is afraid of being discovered and getting in trouble, it would be better to directly find sparsely populated places like the South Pole and the North Pole to build a base. Sometimes, one has to consider various factors. What Li Jing wants is to build logistics support and change the world through multifaceted efforts. Such big moves will sooner or later expose him to the public. Moreover, there is no need to hide so deeply. When a person's military power reaches a certain level, he does not need to take care of too many trivial things when doing things. The map was put away, and Li Jing, who was still holding a little black dog, smiled slightly and disappeared again. The ability of time and space displacement is indeed very powerful. In just a few minutes, Li Jing's figure has appeared over the Pacific Ocean. Then he summoned a flying bird and flew directly to the Hawaiian Islands. The flying bird was extremely fast all the way, but Li Jing frowned slightly at this time. It was not because of anything else, but because of the summoning technique just now. The consumption is too large, which is almost 10 times more than the chakra used in the world of Naruto. After a little thought, Li Jing almost figured out the reason. The summoning technique is to summon creatures in different time and space through a ritual, and the location of the different time and space is connected to the Naruto world. As for the fact that it consumes 10 times the energy when used on Earth, it is probably because of the connecting function of the time and space bridge. In other words, if the summoning technique is used in other time and space without a time and space bridge, then the energy consumed will definitely be even more serious, even dozens or hundreds of times more. Li Jing frowned even more. This is just an ordinary summon beast. If you want to summon a more powerful existence, the energy consumed, even he has to consider it carefully. Moreover, what has been discovered now is only the summoning technique. There must be many ninjutsu affected by the time and space of Naruto. This kind of thing must be solved as soon as possible, and the restrictions on one's own abilities by the outside world must be eliminated in the shortest time. The starry sky is thousands of miles long, and the strong wind blows. It didn't take long, and the destination that was not far away has been reached. The Hawaiian Islands are divided into 8 main islands with a total area of more than 16,000 square kilometers. The largest island accounts for more than half of the total area, which is twice the total area of the other islands. The big island is called Hawaii Island, with a coastline of 266 miles. The people living on it come from all over the world. Together with the number of indigenous people, the total number is more than 100,000. Bang, the spirit beast disappeared, and Li Jing also fell freely in midair. The speed was extremely fast, but Li Jing's expression did not change. It was not until he approached the ground that he stepped on the void to gain a little force and then landed on the ground. It was still nighttime. Li Jing looked around and saw that the lights on the entire island were not dense. It was no wonder that although this island was the largest of the 8 main islands, it was not the most populous. This was all because the 5 volcanoes on the island erupted every year. Although this also added new land to the island and expanded its area, it also proved that it was still very young. Because of the youth of Hawaii Island, volcanoes, and other reasons, the Hawaii State Administration established by the United States is not located on this island, but a long time ago, it was selected on the 3rd largest island called Oahu. After reading the information searched by Tanyan, Li Jing also had some understanding of the island in front of him. Volcanoes and the like are not important, and the US military and the like don't need to care. What Li Jing wants is a large base with production power and armed forces. In addition, the first batch of team trial personnel selected before have also locked the target, a total of 100. Now we are just waiting to prepare for these rookies who don't know the situation yet. The altitude of this island is above 4,000 meters. Although the temperature is not high throughout the year, it is a good place for leisure where you can ski and take a shower in the sea at the same time. Although the environment is good, Li Jing is not here to play. After Tanyan has completed the geological structure detection here, Li Jing also launched the first step of the plan. The site of the base is in the vast tropical rainforest. This is the most stable place on the entire island. It is also a long way from the city where the residents of the island gather. Dong 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 in the barrier, 3 containers fell to the ground. They were taken out by Li Jing from the tattoo space. Under the control of the Sky Eye, the green light on the container turned red. The cold air spread and immediately turned into white mist and slowly disappeared. The 3 device cabins opened, and the icy air rose again. Faintly, rows of metal coffins were revealed from them. There were more than 100 of them. Chapter 179, Lonely Lamp. Imprisonment. This is a kind of life support capsule, which can allow people in suspended animation to survive for a long time. And the people inside are exactly the base researchers in the world of Naruto. Click click click, hundreds of soft sounds. The life support capsules were opened at the same time. After a puff of smoke dispersed, the people in suspended animation were all passively undergoing the transformation work of resuscitation and ventilation. Time passed slowly, and hundreds of people woke up one after another. With the help of nano-worm technology, even if the suspended animation lasted longer, there would be no major problems with their bodies, and they would adapt to the influence and changes of the outside world in the shortest time. My lord, there are 120 members now, and they have been assembled and are ready. Well, let's start. Yes. The black-clothed leader half knelt to receive the order, stood up and waved his hand, and the 120 researchers automatically dispersed into more than 10 teams. Under the leadership of their respective team leaders, these personnel took action one after another to survey, analyze, and plan the terrain here. The construction of a large base is not easy, and Li Jing did not expect to see any results overnight. For this kind of large-scale operation, he originally planned to select some talents from various time and space after the system upgrade was completed, and then jointly build this first base that belongs to him on the Earth. Time passed, and 2 days passed again. System upgrade, 200,000 points. Li Jing has experienced 5 time and space in total, and all the points added up to about 240,000. Although it seems a lot, nearly half of it was wasted when resisting the backlash of time and space. In addition, there are still 90,000 unused points in his hand. which means that Li Jing has not spent tens of thousands of points in total. With a thought in his mind, Li Jing, who was in the rainforest, felt that the tattoo space had made contact with a certain existence in the void, and established an ethereal passage. Enter swish. In just a blink of an eye, Li Jing's figure had disappeared, and then appeared inside the time and space system. The vast space is like flowing water, yes, like flowing water. There is nothing around. Li Jing stood on the slowly flowing silver liquid and looked up at the old housekeeper, who didn't change much in the air. Will it always be like this, steward? Feeling the slight movement under his feet, Li Jing couldn't help but frown slightly. Master, first of all, congratulations, you have now officially become the intermediate master of the system. As for the space here, you can arrange it as you like. Oh, how to do it? You have a thought, and things move. Is that so? Li Jing nodded slightly, and the flow around him really stopped as his mind directed. Li Jing moved again as his mind intended, and only transformed this space into a huge circular building in a short time. The building is like an ancient bullring, with a vast and flat lobby in the middle, and various rooms on 3 floors on the periphery. The total number of rooms is extremely large, at least hundreds of rooms away. Whoosh! The lobby floor is like flowing water, suddenly changing color, and rippling towards all the surrounding buildings like water ripples. Carved patterns, gold and silver correspond. In addition, there are some other decorative objects, and this space is no longer so monotonous and dark. Butler, what changes have been made after the system upgrade? After finishing his chores, Li Jing turned his attention to the butler again, because this was what he wanted to know most. Master Chooser, the previous functions of the system have been updated. Many new functions and items have been added on the original basis, and the master's authority over the system has been increased. New functions? Authority? What are they specifically? Master Chooser, lottery, mall, and fortune furnace. When you use these 3 functions, you will naturally find the changes. In addition, the rest is the newly opened time and space travel with creatures, and there is also an uninterrupted communication function. The butler paused slightly and spoke again. As for authority, the intermediate master can know the problems that could not be known before, including the origin of the system and the ultimate purpose. Li Jing didn't care about carrying creatures at all, because he had already started doing this. Although it was not fair and just, it was illegal entry, but the effect was the same. As for the 3 major functions of the system, I think it's just like upgrading a game, changing some functions and fixing some flaws. But Li Jing was actually somewhat interested in the remaining permission, which seemed to be the most useless, because he also wanted to understand the true situation of the system. Butler, then tell me about the origin and purpose of the system first. Yes, sir. The butler nodded. The origin of the system is from a large world that is extremely far away from this universe. The universe is named Bagu La, which means lonely lamp in Chinese. Lonely lamp? Why? This name is too strange. Li Jing couldn't help but ask. The butler shook his head slightly. In the Gudang universe, all civilizations are divided into levels, which can be divided into 9 levels from low to high. The one that can represent the level of civilization is the good fortune crystal that integrates the highest heritage of the civilization. The good fortune crystal belongs to the overall technological crystallization of the civilization, and its power is unfathomable. The space-time system is just a product extended from its power. Huh? Li Jing's heart moved. Since every civilization has a good fortune crystal, then this system is not the only one? The butler nodded. Yes, sir, the system is just an auxiliary tool, which is extremely common in the Gudang universe. It will divide the same level according to the level of power that created it. So, the system is also divided into 9 levels. Then what level is this system? It seems that things are much more complicated than imagined. Li Jing had to frown at this time, because it is obvious that everything has its purpose. Li Jing doesn't believe that the system will tell him these things for no reason. Sir, the system is indeed divided into 9 levels, and you are currently using a level 7 system, and its origin planet is called Mini-Un Star. After a slight pause, the butler continued. As for the word lonely lamp you asked about, it is because the 9th level civilization, which has developed to the extreme, has already detected all the existence and range in the universe a long time ago, and even explored outside the universe. But unfortunately, outside the Lonely Lamp universe, there is only nothingness, and there is no adjacent space. Lonely lamp. Does it mean loneliness? Unlike what Li Jing imagined, the butler shook his head again. Sir, this is extremely abnormal. It's not loneliness, but imprisonment. Chapter 180 System Classification. Imprisonment? How do you say that? Li Jing was slightly stunned. Sir, in a normal universe, there are many other time and space intertwined inside and outside. Because these time and space are not on a parallel line at all, they can operate normally without interfering with each other, just like the time and space to which the Earth belongs, which is the case around it, and the Lonely Lamp universe, around it. There is no other time and space that can be found by any method. Because of this situation, the system that can consume energy to break through obstacles and transmit users to other time and space at a distance is born. Is that so? Li Jing nodded slightly. Then how did the system come to Earth? What is the purpose? Sir, I should have mentioned some to you before. I wonder if you still remember. The butler smiled slightly. It's about the Battle of the Last Master. You didn't seem to tell me the whole process at that time. Yes, sir. The butler nodded. The previous master has become a high-level master, and he is also the inheritor of the guard of the 9th-generation emperor on the Mini-Yuan star. But now, the Ming dynasty, which has been passed down for tens of thousands of years and originally belonged to the 7th-level civilization, has now been destroyed. Oh, is that why the previous master died in the final battle, and the system also traveled through time and space and came to Earth? Yes, sir. The butler nodded again. That's really unfortunate, but I have heard the story, and I have a question to ask. Without waiting for the butler to answer, Li Jing spoke again. Butler, you said that there are so many systems that can travel through time and space, so doesn't it mean that I also have the opportunity to meet people in the Gudang universe? Sir, it's not a chance, it's inevitable, because the power of the creation crystal belongs to the same root. So even if it is not a system created by a civilization, it will discover the other party within a certain range. Unfortunately, our location has been discovered. What? Li Jing was stunned, and then his face suddenly changed. Why didn't you tell me about this earlier? If such a person whose background and strength are unknown is allowed to come to Earth, then everything he has done may be disrupted. And the probability of such a person being an enemy should be far greater than the probability of becoming a friend. Because Li Jing does not believe that a person who lives in a lonely universe will get along well with others after coming out. This is not about personality, but about needs. The more developed the civilization is, the more resources it consumes will inevitably be. No matter how many planets there are in the universe, it is estimated that they can't withstand the continuous consumption of many civilizations. In this case, the purpose of this kind of person coming out of the universe can be imagined. Resources. Nothing is more important than survival. Master Z, don't panic too much. It is not easy to rely on the connection between systems to find the other party unless both parties are willing. The other system that appeared this time is only a medium system of level 4 or 5. So things are not at all irreversible. Medium? Every 3 levels are divided into 1 level? Then how do you solve this problem? Li Jing was just surprised, not panicked. The problem was that the butler portrayed the power of the lonely universe as too powerful. It was totally beyond the ability of a small shrimp or crab like the Earth to resist. It is not so easy for the newcomers to search the universe where the Earth is located. In my opinion, when we start the next time-space travel, he or they will enter the time-space with the master of choice, and then make contact. Because, when the system opens the door to time-space, it will become the best signpost. They? What do you mean, master of choice? I believe you should have considered it as well. Even if there is only one system, it can allow multiple people to travel through time and space. Li Jing frowned even more. He was not thinking about how powerful the unknown newcomers would be, but considering that since the first batch had appeared, there would definitely be a second and third batch. If it really reached that point, how should he deal with it? Butler, what distinguishes the 9 levels of the system? Please be more specific. 9 levels and 3 grades. Levels below level 3, including level 3, are low level. They don't have independent shuttle functions, no fortune furnaces, and only simple trading systems. Levels 4, 5, and 6 are medium, and they also don't have fortune furnaces. They have the ability to travel through time and space, but the energy they obtain and consume is not sus points, but other more common energy sources. Moreover, the system capabilities of these 6 levels are much worse than those of high-level systems. As for level 8 above level 7, and level 9, this system has no records of their specific capabilities. Then what level does the civilization on Earth belong to? Sir, the civilization on Earth only has a simple technological system, and the rest are just some individual biological cultivation systems that have been broken. So if you have to divide it, it is only a primary second-level civilization that has just left the origin star. Is that so? Li Jing lowered his head and thought. It seems that between civilizations of the same level, the capabilities will be divided into several small levels, and I believe that there will be no real equivalence in terms of combat capabilities. It's like the Gudang universe and the Earth. The Gudang civilization, which belongs to the second level, will definitely crush the technology on Earth. There is no need to look at other things. The space-time system alone is enough to prove everything. After a long while, Li Jing nodded slightly. Forget it. There are indeed a lot of things. These alone are enough for me to think about for a while. Let's draw the lottery first, Butler. Okay, sir, because you have rebuilt the space-time bridge this time. The number of items you can get from the lottery is 3. Li Jing nodded, and the butler said no more. With a wave of his hand, he summoned a large golden roulette wheel. Magical item substitute puppet worth 5,000 points. Magical item heart of refuge worth 20,000 points. Magical item fake Hot Wheels worth 10,000 points. Magical item transforming golden pig worth 15,000 points. Magical item bubble gun worth 12,000 points. Magical item zombie courage worth 6,000 points. Weapons and equipment helper armor worth 30,000 points. Weapons and equipment favor of the goddess worth 25,000 points. Heart knowledge infinite golden body worth 9,000 points. God's mark sky supporting finger worth 100,000 points. The wheel was spinning, but Li Jing was stroking his forehead and thinking about other things. As for the transforming pig and zombie courage, he was already used to them. Only the last new high-value God's mark could arouse his interest. However, the problem is not here. Li Jing is still thinking about what the butler said before. What solitary lamp? What dynasty? What destruction? Chapter 181 Where doubts, lies are not terrible. What is terrible is that 99% of the truth leaves the most fatal deception in the most critical place. Li Jing understood the meaning of the word choose master. That is, the system chose him as a partner for equal exchange, rather than recognizing him as the master as a boarder. But the problem is that the system was created by the so-called Hades dynasty. Would the Hades dynasty allow the system to choose the user independently? If so, how did the identity of the successor come from? There are too many loopholes in it. Li Jing may not be proficient in the layout, but he has never been afraid of finding faults and picking faults. What's more, there is another point, that is, the lottery items this time are simply too strange. Almost all of them are life-saving things. What does this mean? Are you still afraid that you will die in the next time and space? If so, it is enough to prove that the purpose of the system is. Congratulations on choosing your master. The magical prop bubble gun, the weapon equipment Hades armor, the mental knowledge Wuji Jinshin. Although you didn't draw the best, the total value of these items is more than 50,000 points. The butler waved his hand, and 2 things fell from the air. Li Jing took them casually, and under a ray of golden light, he also received the mental knowledge Wuji Jinshin worth 9,000 points. This value is twice as high as the extremely difficult Taiyan Shenju Master, because the system upgrade consumed about 40,000 points. 20,000 points have been deducted from your gains. Now you still have 73,000 points left, including 700 points harvested every day from the 2 times space bridges. Got it? Li Jing nodded. Butler, How many points will it cost to use the creation furnace again to increase my brain utilization? 25%, 12,000 points, directly to 30%. The points will need more than 30,000. Li Jing frowned slightly. Although he had heard the butler say that developing brain utilization would consume sus points, and it would take more than 500,000 points to reach 70%, but when he heard about the tens of thousands of money being spent again, Li Jing couldn't help but curse in his heart. A total of 90,000, 20,000 for the system upgrade, 30,000 for improving brain utilization, and the tattoo space also needs to be upgraded again. Last time, it cost nearly 5,000, so this time it is estimated that it will not be lower than this number, or even more. Then, in the end, there are only about 30,000 left, and nothing has been bought yet. Housekeeper, start the fortune furnace and develop the brain utilization rate to 30%. Li Jing said, it's better to do this sooner rather than later. There is too much energy in the body. If it is hindered by spiritual power, it will really be putting the cart before the horse. Okay, sir. There was no waste of time. In just a short moment, the fortune furnace appeared in front of Li Jing in this strange shape. What is this? Li Jing stared, and his face was really black this time. Damn, is the fortune furnace in front of him still a fortune furnace? This is grown by burning coal. Damn. Looking at the black fortune furnace, Li Jing couldn't help but curse directly. The word fortune is about ever-changing. Li Jing understands this very well, but there is no need to create such a chilling existence, right? With a cold face, Li Jing stepped into the pitch-black coal furnace. It's still that feeling, ethereal, with catkins flying. Although the appearance of the creation furnace is not powerful, its functions are not reduced at all. In Li Jing's feeling, it is more like being upgraded, with a stronger and greater power of creation. Unconsciously, the concept of time has completely disappeared at this time. It is like a hot spring bath, and it is like drinking the legendary Meng Po soup. The magic of the creation furnace is probably able to modify a person's personality more thoroughly. Huh? Li Jing woke up again and suddenly jumped up from the floor. It's too terrible. It's simply letting others control their own lives. This kind of thing must not happen again. Congratulations, Master Z. This brain development is going very smoothly. Huh? Li Jing responded expressionlessly, as if he had let go of the previous entanglement. He clenched his fists and felt the benefits of the 30% brain utilization rate. The physical body has not changed much, but the control of energy and supernatural powers is more comfortable, and the improvement in mental power is quite huge. The pupil power increased, the perception became stronger, and even the Taiyan divine art, which had been silent for a long time, was upgraded to the third level as if it was a natural process, breaking the pill and forming a form. Gathering the spirit like the sea, gathering the sea into the pill, breaking the pill and forming a form. Li Jing's mental power at this time was like a shrunken original body. Although this star image was still a little vague after just being upgraded, it was possible to feel the huge power contained in it, which was more than 10 times stronger than the second-level pill-like mental power. Not only that, after practicing the Taiyan divine art to this level, Li Jing also had a clearer concept of the path to take in the future, instead of being completely ignorant as before. At least before practicing the Taiyan divine art to the 5th level, Li Jing had no obstacles at this time. With a 30% brain utilization rate and a multiplied mental power, the energy in Li Jing's body was controlled freely, and there was room for further improvement. Butler, how many points do I have now? Sir, there are a total of 38,000 points. Yes. Nodding slightly, Li Jing also felt that he was spending money like water. 90,000 points. He hasn't done anything yet, but he has already lost more than half. Obviously, the previous creation furnace swallowed up 32,000 points, and if it continues like this, it will definitely swallow up more in the future. Not only that, just the feeling of letting others control his life and death before, Li Jing didn't want to try it again. This kind of thing must be solved before the next time. Butler, how are the points for upgrading the tattoo space calculated? Choose the master. Every increase of 1,000 cubic meters of the tattoo space requires 5,000 units of energy. Li Jing nodded. This number was the same as his estimate. Because it took about 5,000 points to increase the tattoo space to 1,000 cubic meters before, but because there are more and more things stored now, such a large space is obviously not enough. 5,000 points, and double the space for me. Yes, sir, the butler responded and started the operation with a wave of his hand. It didn't take long for the tattoo space to be upgraded again. Chapter 182 Development Direction. After the storage space issue was resolved, Li Jing opened the point mall again. The categories in the mall did not change much. It was still divided into 5 categories: matter, energy, knowledge, life, and sundries. However, the items seemed to have been updated, and many new things that had never been seen before were opened. The specific difference can only be distinguished in the price. Previously, the knowledge category only had items within a few thousand points, but now, even the skills and techniques worth tens of thousands of points are presented. Spending some time, Li Jing roughly browsed all the items. Energy category, Nether Ghost Fire, Soul Nemesis, 5,000 points. Knowledge category, Basics of Physical Training 300 points, Indestructible Diamond 500 points, Detailed Explanation of Mental Power 500 points. Live category, Gifted Language Fish, with it, you will be able to understand any language, and communication is no longer a problem. 2,000 points. After buying some more regular items, Li Jing stopped buying because he had already spent 10,000 points. The Netherworld Ghost Fire. Only one flower was worth 5,000. After the Taiyan Shenju was upgraded to the 3rd level, Li Jing needed a kind of flame energy as a primer to practice a skill that was specifically used for the soul. As for the remaining body training techniques, Wuji Jinshin was too obscure and difficult to understand. Li Jing had to start from the beginning and first understand some of the simpler ones, and then practice it. It was more difficult. It was safer to choose this step-by-step approach. What's more, Li Jing was not very interested in Wuji Jinshin. In his heart, if possible, he would rather spend a lot of time to study these body training techniques thoroughly, and then create his own most suitable techniques to practice. Not only in body training, but also in mental strength. People who only follow the old path of others will never achieve much, because no matter how much you practice, you can't exceed the boundaries of the person who created the technique, and no matter how much you study, you can't understand this technique better than the person who created it. Unless, go your own way. Butler, send me out first. Okay, sir. In a flash, Li Jing returned to the barrier in the rainforest again. For nearly 3 days, although nothing could be seen on the surface, the environment was still the same as before, but large-scale high-efficiency operations were being carried out underground. With the rapid expansion space of nanoworms, the construction of the base can be expanded several times in a short period of time, and the continuous rest and adjustment of hundreds of researchers have further accelerated the development and establishment of the base. This is just the beginning. The system upgrade is complete, which also means that Li Jing will have more resources to allocate, whether it is talents or basic equipment needed to build the base. These can be prepared in the shortest time through the bridge of time and space, but these are just external objects. After Li Jing recovered a split body left before, he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. After changing a person's memory, the person himself will not feel that there is anything wrong. Therefore, the effect of the furnace of creation can only be more powerful. The split body stores all of Li Jing's original memories. Using it as a yardstick, Li Jing combed through all of his memories from beginning to end. There were no mistakes, no different memories appeared, and this result also made Li Jing slightly relieved. Being able to make such precautions in advance was not because Li Jing felt that the system itself would harm him, but on the contrary, Li Jing felt that the system had been deliberately protecting him from the slightest external harm. Whether it was lowering the standard of the space-time gate, or actively defending against the huge space-time backlash, plus the lottery items seen before, this was not a lottery at all. It could only be regarded as a reward controlled by the system. Otherwise, how could such a coincidence appear? So many life-saving items? There is no hatred without reason in the world. And naturally there will be no love without reason. Not to mention this kind of exploitation relationship with the system. It is impossible to help voluntarily without reward. Utilization? Just utilization. Li Jing is using the resources of the system to become a strong man, and the purpose of the system is to use Li Jing to gain points to survive. But is it that simple? Li Jing doesn't believe it, and he can't believe it at all. The system should be related to the destroyed Hades dynasty. What does it want to do? Restore the country? Or revive the previous master? Suddenly cut off this line of thought. Before considering these issues, Li Jing didn't want to be eliminated by the system with absolute advantage. What's more, he still has. Li Jing stretched out his palm and touched the tattoo space at the heart. With a thought, the tattoo space wandered and formed an ancient pattern on Li Jing's arm. Before considering the problem, we must wait until we are sure. Didi boss, it's a message from assistant Zongzin. Come in. Okay, boss. Didi, a three-dimensional image popped up on the watch. It was Zongzin who was sitting in the villa. Seeing Li Jing's figure suddenly appear on her mobile phone, Zongzin was also slightly stunned. Boss, it's me. What do you want to talk to me about? Oh, it's like this. Zongzin paused for a moment, and then spoke again. Mr. Chen sent a message saying that he wants to meet with you. It's about the development of the company. Mr. Chen wants to create an electronic brand of Danyan technology, which includes a series of product plans such as mobile phones and computers. Your appetite is getting bigger and bigger. Li Jing smiled slightly. Danyan Technology's means of making money are really too cruel. With more and more download users around the world, Danyan Technology's revenue and brand value are also rising. Although it has not yet been listed, the initial valuation has already exceeded $20 billion US, because this is a company that lays golden eggs. $20 billion US is just the technological content of Danyan Technology. The emergence of the intelligent system has been known to the whole world in just 1 month, and the new version of the charging project has generated nearly 20 billion yuan for the company in the initial stage. Therefore, if Li Jing is willing to auction the company, it will definitely cause a worldwide consortium to scramble for it, and the auction price is estimated to be far beyond the $20 billion US limit. Boss, you still need to give an answer to this matter. Let her connect with me directly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 183 Pyramid. Okay, I'll go and inform Mr. Chen right away. Zongzin agreed, and when Li Jing waved his hand, she automatically hung up the call. Not long after, Li Jing was reminded by the sky eye again. Ding, the call was established, and this time a professional woman in a beige suit appeared. She was probably in her 30s, with a voluptuous figure and light makeup on her face. She looked serious and had a slightly cold and royal style. Vacation? Primeval forest. You are such a happy boss. Chen Dan smiled slightly, as if to say hello to Li Jing. Have you prepared the plan? If so, please send it to my email. Li Jing's directness changed Chen Dan's attitude. Although they had not been in contact for a long time, she had a rough understanding of what kind of person Li Jing was. Business is business. Li Jing, who is easy to talk to in private, is best at cutting the Gordian knot when talking about business. I have sent you the plan. The core significance is still around the brand of Danyan Technology. Virtual is virtual. I think it is necessary for us to establish our own industrial projects. In this way, our industrial chain will be more diversified. In the field of supporting intelligent systems, we can also achieve independent production and independent marketing. The survivability of such an overall company will be greatly improved. Well said. Li Jing nodded, but then shook his head slightly. This is just my personal opinion. As the only controlling director of the company, I also want to hear your opinion. Seeing Li Jing shaking his head, Chen Dan also slowed down his speech. The idea is good, but the positioning needs to be changed. Danyan Technology takes the technical route, and the burden of the real industry is too heavy, so we can't focus on ordinary consumers. Otherwise, It can only slow down the development of Tanyan technology. Chen Dan frowned slightly. It was obvious that she had not thought through Li Jing's words. Why? The ordinary consumer group is the largest market. In this regard, we should not. I understand what you mean, but you don't understand what I mean. Mr. Chen, you just need to remember one thing. Making money is not my goal. Do you understand? Chen Dan was stunned. His eyes widened, and he even couldn't believe what he heard. What does it mean? The biggest boss actually said that making money is not the goal. So why start a company? Can't you just go home and retire? Just remember this point. You don't need to understand. As for the physical projects, we still have to do it, but we can only make high-quality products. Whether it is a mobile phone or a computer, only high-consumption high-quality products, and the annual output must be controlled within a certain range for me. What is this ... Okay, you are the big boss. You have the final say. Seeing Li Jing's expressionless face, Chen Dan could only spread his hands and accept this cruel reality. Remember, I want the most advanced production capacity, not the fast food format that only seeks speed and output. If you have that time, you might as well consider a few more charging items for the intelligent system. From this point of view, the service items of Tanyan are still too few. I know. Then I won't disturb your vacation and leisure. Seeing Li Jing waving his hand, Chen Dan gritted her teeth and closed the communication, because she still didn't understand the meaning of Li Jing's words. Not for the purpose of making money, not for the ordinary consumption market. Is it just high-consumption local tyrant boutiques? No, this is obviously not preparing to make money. What is the reason? Although Li Jing knew that Chen Dan didn't understand, he didn't have the idea of explaining in detail, because there was no need at all. He wanted an executor, not a decision-maker who shared secrets with him. In Li Jing's view, money is just a bunch of numbers. If you create low-consumption market products, it can only be a thankless trouble. Because his purpose is not to live a local tyrant life just for making money, Li Jing believes that the physical industry that produces high-quality products still has a certain role. Good things are better than quantity. When such high-quality products appear on the market, they can not only establish the brand value of Tanyan technology, but also help Li Jing's own considerations. It is the best of both worlds. Because Li Jing's goal is to change the world, and the world always exists in the shape of a pyramid. If you want to change the world by changing the ordinary people at the bottom of the pyramid, it will be a waste of effort and thankless. What Li Jing wants to do is to radiate from the top of the pyramid to the largest and broadest bottom. In this way, even if you save effort, you can see the greatest results in the shortest time. The emergence of the Tanyan subsystem is a bridge between Li Jing and everyone. Through this direct dialogue method, Li Jing is not afraid of not being able to completely change the world. As for the low-end market, Li Jing will not participate in any industry, because it is enough for him to grasp the layout of the upper level. The rest is to leave a sip of soup for others' efforts. In this regard, it is not that the low-end market is not important, but on the contrary, it is very important. Therefore, Li Jing's consideration is to use a series of technologies such as high technology, or other technologies, to change the top of the pyramid first, and then radiate the civilian market downwards, so as to achieve the goal of changing the whole world. Otherwise, starting with civilians first, it can only be a small and boring move, because civilians consider clothing, food, housing, transportation, and entertainment, while the group of people at the top of the pyramid think about development, exploration and change. This is different resources, different situations, different heights, and different perspectives on things. Some people are running around for 3 meals a day, while others are already preparing to land on Mars. The three outlooks are closely related to a person's situation. This is also the initial consideration for why Li Jing wants to start the Earth Talent Reserve Plan. Time passed again, and more than a month passed slowly. Li Jing was upgraded to an intermediate master. The housekeeper informed him that the time interval before each time of shuttle time and space was also changed, with a maximum of 3 months. Within this time limit, the next time of shuttle time and space must be carried out to obtain sus points. Xiang Yun, with a thin face and wearing sunglasses, is a child from a wealthy family. Now he is 23 years old and about to graduate from college, but his life has not been easy recently, because he is isolated. Friends, classmates, and even relatives have completely excluded him from the social circle. In addition to the decreasing living expenses every month, even the phone calls between his parents to ask about his well-being no longer exist. Chapter 184 Stonehouse Maze. This kind of thing is even more terrifying than actually severing the relationship. However, Xiangyun, who has not yet entered society, has been able to face all this calmly, because no one socializes with him. It is not because he has an annoying master syndrome, but because he himself suffers from a disease. This disease is not physical, but psychological. For this reason, Xiangyun himself gave it a name, called Rational Personality Syndrome. This disease will make people form a rational personality like a pervert, and when dealing with all the people or things around them, they will be in a morbid rationality with almost no emotions. Xiangyun is like this. In this state, let alone making friends and dating, even his parents can't accept it. A son who seems to have no emotions. A child who can be as calm as water when his parents quarrel. A guy who will turn around and leave when his friend falls into the water. A monster who will say that he needs the other party to solve physiological problems when he makes a girlfriend. Today, he disappeared, as if he had evaporated from the face of the earth. Maybe no one cares about Xiangyun's life or death, and no one cares about his whereabouts, but disappearance is disappearance, and there will always be a reasonable explanation, although no one really needs this explanation. Similarly, Xiangyun himself does not need it. He just feels that he is sleeping in the bedroom. When he wakes up again, he is already in this strange room built entirely of stone. Standing up, Xiangyun looked at the room. The room is 6 meters long, 6 meters wide, and 6 meters high. It is a cube accurate to microns. There are no carvings or engravings. In addition, there are no other furnishings. There is not even a door or a window. Even so, in the gray secret room, you can see the surrounding situation clearly without the help of light. Xiangyun had a blank expression on his face, and even his eyebrows did not move, because his rational intuition told him that he could get out of this secret room. Otherwise, those who kidnapped him here, are they just to study the daily life of human beings? And nothing is prepared, which is the best proof. Xiangyun, he is not really emotionless, but his rational personality has taken absolute control. He knows what to do and when to do it. Even if it is not in line with common sense, he will do it without hesitation. When his parents quarrel, he can be as calm as water, because he knows that he can't do anything about this kind of thing, because he has seen it too many times. When his friend fell into the water, he walked away without saying a word, because he couldn't swim, so he would naturally seek help from outside as soon as possible. And when meeting a girl, because he didn't like her, it didn't matter what language he used to scare the other party away, because Xiangyun didn't care at all. Suddenly, there was a sound on the stone wall. Xiangyun turned his head and saw that a rectangular hole big enough for one person to pass through was opened on the wall that was originally seamless. Before Xiangyun moved, footsteps came from the hole, and they were getting closer and closer. "Hello, is anyone there?" English. A woman. I can tell from her voice that she is not very old, about the same age as me, speaks with a nasal tone, and has a heavy tongue roll. 90% of them are Americans. "Hello, is anyone there? If yes, please answer me." Anxious, irritable. It seems that she is not aware of it, but the following sentence is obviously very confident, which can prove that this American girl has a trump card in her hand, or even a pistol with great lethality. Judgment, unknown facts. White girl, with weapons, can be a valuable partner. I'm here, I'm sorry, my ears are not very sensitive. Xiangyun spoke, also in English, and the tone was very much like the anxious reply after hearing it just now. Oh God, finally someone. The girl's voice was obviously crying, and Xiangyun didn't wait any longer. A blonde girl who was 1.7 meters tall bent over and drilled in from the hole. The rectangular hole was only about 1 meter high, and there was also a high threshold from the ground. After the girl came in, she looked at Xiangyun with mist in her eyes. "Hello, do you know where this is?" The blonde girl was very pretty. After asking the question, her two big eyes were full of expectation. As expected by Xiang Yun, the girl was holding a silver revolver in her hand. "I'm sorry, I don't know much about this matter. Maybe I don't know the situation here as well as you do." Xiang Yun spread his hands, indicating that he also knew nothing. "Oh damn." The blonde girl was obviously really anxious. She raised the revolver in her hand and smashed it hard on the wall beside her. Bang! There was a loud noise. Xiang Yun's expression did not change, but his heart was moved. The stone wall was intact and there was no scratch left. "Hey, what's your name? I think we can help each other and we will definitely get out of here safely." "It's useless. Everything I have is gone, including my mobile phone. And you have also discovered that every room here is exactly the same. I have been walking in a straight line for more than a dozen rooms, and it's all like this." The girl was dejected, and the revolver in her hand fell to the ground like powerlessness. "Haha, you are too pessimistic. There has been no danger yet, right? This means that we still have a chance to get out. My name is Yu. You can call me Yu." "You?" "Yes." Xiang Yun nodded with a smile. But he was thinking about the information he had received, the same room, and the revolver of unknown origin. If it was placed here by the kidnapper, then what was his or their purpose? According to the existing information, it is enough to judge that it is not that there is no danger here, but it is not time to start the game yet. Is there not enough people, or is there something else? Otherwise, there would be no such thing as a pistol, and the only explanation for the appearance of a pistol is that it needs human lives to survive, right? "My name is Hannah. I live in New York, USA. "Thank you, Yu." Hannah smiled slightly, although reluctantly, but it can be seen that it is sincere. "You're welcome." Xiang Yun smiled and waved his hand, and then changed the subject and spoke again. "Hannah, how did you get your pistol?" Hannah was slightly stunned, bent down and picked up the pistol that fell on the ground. "I found this inside the wall of a room." "In the wall?" Chapter 185. The trial in progress. "Yeah. Is there something wrong?" Hannah looked at Xiang Yun with some doubts. Xiang Yun did not answer, but kept thinking about these things in his mind. There must be a mechanism for a gun in the wall, and there must be other things besides the gun. "Hannah, this girl can find a way to open the mechanism so easily, and can also successfully take the pistol, and then successfully pass through more than a dozen rooms and come here. In this way, let's not talk about whether there is any danger in these rooms, just these actions that rely solely on intuition. Hannah is not a simple ordinary person. And I am the same, Yu. Hannah was a little nervous, but because she was not used to speaking Chinese, she could only pout and spit out two vague words. "Huh?" Kaka. Before Xiang Yun answered, another hole was opened in the opposite direction of the previous one. This time, the person came in directly, and it was a black man with an extremely fierce appearance and a height of at least 1.9 meters. "Stop! Don't move!" Hannah raised the pistol. Although her tone was sharp, her confidence was still a little nervous. Seeing this, the black man shrugged slightly and slowly raised his arms. "Hey, relax. I mean no harm." "Dude, when did you get here?" Xiang Yun spoke, but his mind was thinking about other things, because he was right. Hannah's intuition was indeed extraordinary, otherwise she would not have revealed a nervous look before the black man came in. "Jaden, I just woke up an hour ago. What's going on? Who of you can explain it?" Xiang Yun was still thinking, while Hannah was holding a pistol and was very nervous. It seemed that she did not answer the black man Jaden's plan. The three of them were still in a stalemate, and all of this had been recorded by the nano-level camera on the wall. Even the micro-expressions and micro-movements were not spared. Li Jing, through the three-dimensional image transmission of the sky eye, had also clearly seen all of this, and felt pretty good. This first batch of trial personnel, each of them has at least one strength, such as Hannah's keen intuition, Xiang Yun's rational approach, and this black man Jaden, he is no exception. "I hope we can select a few seedlings worth cultivating." Li Jing smiled slightly and let the sky eye temporarily cut off the three-dimensional image. The real trial has not yet begun, and the fun is yet to come. In more than a month, the base on the Hawaiian island has completed the initial construction of the first phase of the plan. At this time, Jing is in the base space 1,000 meters underground. The space here is huge, the hull is silver, and the facilities have been arranged. Next, we will build the energy center and the general control center of the base at a deeper depth. Then, there will be the experimental area, inventory area, test area, and personnel rest area. Things are extremely cumbersome and cannot be completed in one day. We can only move forward slowly step by step. The location of Xiangyun and other trial personnel is also within the first step of the plan that has just been completed. It is not too far away from Jing. This is a large supercube that can change freely. The overall structure of the cube is not made of stone, but is made with the latest research results, the mimic nanoworm technology. Therefore, the seemingly weak stone wall cannot be damaged by a pistol or a rocket launcher. Moreover, even if there are large weapons that damage the wall, these mimic nanoworms will automatically repair it in the shortest time. What's more, these nanoworms can absorb and utilize external energy and split into more numbers again. Xiangyun, Hannah, and Jaden, after thinking fruitlessly, can only discuss the issue of alliance. The situation in the stone house is too unknown, so it is safer for everyone to work together. Relying on Hannah's intuition, the three of them passed through several stone houses without any danger. Every side of the room here can be opened, even the upper and lower directions are no exception. As long as you put your palm on the wall for more than 3 seconds, the wall will automatically open a hole. Click. This is the 5th room, right? Hannah has walked through more than a dozen rooms in a straight line. Does that mean we are almost at the end? The black man Jaden spoke, but he glanced at the silver revolver in Hannah's hand. No, although the rooms here have not changed, and I can't feel any vibration, but I feel that if we keep walking like this, we can't get out of this damn place. Hannah slapped her forehead in annoyance. She had had enough of this damn place. Xiangyun didn't respond. It seemed that he had no intention of speaking at all. He naturally had his own considerations. Following Hannah's intuition could ensure safety to the greatest extent, but Xiangyun didn't believe that the existence that kidnapped them here would let them stay so leisurely. Sure enough, as if to verify Xiangyun's thoughts, a few lines of text suddenly appeared on the wall of the room. This is a game about your fate, and the rules are set by me, so be prepared. Those who try to survive, your life will be changed from now on. The game officially begins. The text is very short, and it seems that no useful information can be found, but Xiangyun's face is different from his previous expressionless face, becoming more and more serious and ugly. Shit. Don't let me find out who is playing tricks, otherwise I will definitely pull this guy's soft egg off and crush it. God, what the hell is this? I don't want to participate in this damn game. Let me out. I want to go home. Bang bang. Hannah's tolerance has obviously reached its limit. She raised the revolver in her hand and pulled the trigger repeatedly at the wall where the text appeared. Looking at the undamaged wall, Xiangyun's facial expression is richer. At this moment, he frowned and was constantly thinking. The information in his mind kept flashing out, converging and combining. The wall cannot be destroyed, and escape is not considered, and it is eliminated. The text I saw was in Chinese, and the two foreigners could understand it. This proved that there was more than 70% probability that the text on the wall was inconsistent in everyone's eyes. The stonehouse technology and the text technology were enough to prove the technological content here, and the characters who could possess this technology could only be divided into 3 types: countries, powerful individuals, and alien creatures that had never appeared. Countries, eliminated. The tone of the text was obviously wrong. Aliens were not considered, and the only ones left were powerful individual organizations. In addition, the sentence I made the rules, which showed that this character had enough confidence in his own power and a special desire for control. Chapter 186. No winning or losing, only life or death. Since the game comes from such a person, he will not lie. Therefore, there are still many useful information that can be found in the text on the wall. Requirements. Try to survive. The game does not mention winning or losing. The rules are controlled by a single person. Therefore, the final answer is you. There is someone in that room. Huh? His thoughts were interrupted. Xiaoyun followed Hannah's finger and turned his head to look at the wall beside him. The black man Jaden looked at Hannah and Xiaoyun beside him, and then glanced at the pistol with less than 3 bullets again. He shrugged and smiled, and walked towards the direction Hannah pointed. "Don't go, it's dangerous," Hannah shouted loudly, and Jaden was also scared. "Shit." Jaden turned around. "Didn't you say there was someone in there? What danger could there be? Is that person dead?" "I don't know." Hannah shook her head violently, with a look of horror on her face, and her feet were slowly retreating. "Hey, yellow-skinned kid, what do you think?" Seeing Hannah in such a state, Jaden turned his attention to Xiaoyun, who was standing aside. Although Xiaoyun's brows had not calmed down, he still answered the black man. "Jaden, open it and take a look." In this situation, how bad can it get? Jaden nodded slightly. Xiaoyun's words were exactly what he was thinking about now. Turning around again, Jaden slowly approached the stone wall. No danger. The hole was opened, no different from usual. Who is there?" The voice from the other side was a young man, but the grammar he used was Japanese. Jaden took 2 steps back and shrugged, indicating that he didn't understand, while Hannah, who was standing beside him, was still trembling slightly, constantly muttering words like danger. "Hey, friend on the other side, do you speak English?" "I only know a few words in Japanese." Xiaoyun stepped forward and spoke softly to the open hole. "Yes, I will." "Who are you? What kind of a place is this?" It can be heard that the other party is a little excited. Xiaoyun and Jaden looked at each other and nodded. "Friends, we are the same as you. We don't know much about this place. Do you want to come over and talk first?" It was still Xiaoyun who spoke, but he intentionally or unintentionally emphasized the tone of the word we. "You? How many people?" "3. We just met not long ago, and these 2 friends are in the same situation, so it's better for us to unite together." Xiaoyun's voice fell, and the voice on the other side disappeared. But Xiaoyun was not in a hurry, because he knew that the other party was considering it now. As for the previous we, it was Xiaoyun's confession, and he didn't want the other party to come over and find out this with his own eyes. It didn't take long, and there was a slight sound of footsteps. A young man in his 20s, wearing a black suit, bent over and got in. "Hello, my name is Long Chuanzemu." Japanese. Long Chuanzemu bowed after looking at Xiaoyun and the other 2. "You're welcome. My name is Yudu." These 2 are. I'm coming. Wu tilde. The sudden voice interrupted Xiaoyun. It was Hannah, who was holding her head and shaking a little. She muttered incoherently, and at the end she even cried. Before Xiaoyun could ask, the 6 walls that looked like stone suddenly turned red, and words appeared on one of them again. "The maximum number of people is 3. If you exceed the limit, only 2 people can leave this room alive. The time limit is 1 hour. After the words were displayed, a timer appeared on the wall. 0:59 and 59 seconds. Shit. Jaden looked ugly, and hurriedly stepped back to the corner, facing the other 3 people. At this time, Xiaoyun's expression was more serious. Hannah's intuition was indeed accurate, but she couldn't tell the specific situation at all. Relying on Xiaoyun's consideration, the danger Hannah mentioned should refer to the inside of the house. However, it was indeed a stone house, but it was not the one that Long Chuanzemu had stayed in as imagined. "I should have thought of it long ago." It's not that simple. The rules are controlled by one person, so he who doesn't need to win or lose will naturally use other methods to determine his own goals. And this process seems to be killing each other, just like raising a goo. The loser has been swallowed by the winner, and naturally there will be no loser surviving. Therefore, there is no winning or losing in this game, only living and dying. 0:54 and 56 seconds. Time. Only 5 minutes have passed, and the faces of the 4 people who are on guard against each other are already covered with sweat. In this small space, there is no way to go or hide. Even the various cave entrances are blocked at this time. As expected, there is only one way left. That is, fighting, because no one will believe that everything will return to normal after the time is up. Hannah, the pistol in her hand, was aimed at Long Chuanzemu for a while, and then at the black man Jaden. She was so nervous that she trembled. "Hey, calm down. Don't be hostile to each other just because of a damn word." Okay. Jaden raised his hands to indicate that he was not a threat, and then turned his attention to Xiangyun. Yeah, if I had known this, I would have stayed in that room and not come here. We don't want this situation. Let's discuss it carefully. Seeing Hannah's pistol pointed at him again, Long Chuanzemu waved his hands repeatedly. His face turned from green to white. Yes, we must unite. Hannah, put down the pistol first. As he spoke, Xiangyun slowly walked in front of Hannah, just blocking the muzzle of the gun aimed at the other two. What's wrong with you? It's okay, Hannah, if you trust me, just give me the pistol for safekeeping. No. Hannah was still shaking, but she was extremely insecure, and it was impossible for her to hand over the weapon to an outsider, even if this outsider had a certain degree of trust in her. Okay then, Hannah, watch your back. Hannah turned around suddenly. The name is to attract attention, and the latter part is to divert attention. Xiangyun dodged to the side, and his hand had already snatched Hannah's pistol. However, the muzzle of the gun was still aimed at Jaden and Long Chuanzemu. Bang, bang, without any hesitation, 2 bullets had penetrated the chests of the 2 people. It was only a few meters away. As long as you are not blind, it is not difficult to do this. Long Chuanzemu died on the spot, and Jaden's lungs were pierced, and he spit blood and foam at the mouth when he spoke, and he was weak. Chapter 187 Beastly Killing. Hannah screamed, but she turned around and saw Jaden and the other man falling to the ground. Hannah, shut up, I just did what you hesitated about. Xiangyun seemed to have suddenly changed into a different person, with a cold look that was no longer the polite and warm man image before. Hannah was so scared that she covered her mouth, but the tears in her eyes slid down. She understood, she naturally understood why the person in front of her did this, but her previous hesitation was that she didn't want to save her life by killing people, but she didn't expect the person in front of her to be so straightforward. How could it be? There was no need to say anything else. Jaden's breathing was getting more and more rapid, and it was only more than 10 seconds, and he could only stare at Xiangyun with extremely resentful eyes, and he couldn't say a word anymore. Jaden took his last breath, and the time on the wall stopped moving, and then slowly disappeared, and the stone house once again returned to its original color. Xiangyun also exhaled slightly. He did not feel any extreme reaction to the feeling of killing. Perhaps this was also the effect of his extremely rational personality. However, Xiangyun felt that this influence was not bad. Although it was a bit cold-blooded, to a certain extent, it could make him adapt to everything better and make it easier for him to survive. This was enough. Xiangyun's cold rationality, Hannah's helplessness, and everything that happened to them were recorded by the Sky Eye, ready to be extracted and viewed by Li Jing at any time. And not only these 4 people, but also the other 96 people, were also in different rooms, with different situations, but the same essence. The trial has just begun. Boss, there are 63 people left now. 21 died in the fight and 16 died in the trap. Isn't this too fast? How about I lower the probability of the trap appearing? No, the number of people is not important at all. Record all the data for the record. If a special person appears, remember to isolate him alone. End this game within 3 days. Understood, boss, I remember. Li Jing closed the trial video and stood up and left the room. This is just the preliminary trial plan for the first batch. In the future, there will be a second batch, a third batch, and even more. There is no need to waste all your energy on this aspect. The brain utilization rate has been developed to 30%, and he has also obtained a very high-end physical training method, Infinite Golden Body. In the past month, Li Jing has been preparing for cultivation. He even took the time to watch the construction of the supercube a few times. As for the first batch of 100 people who just entered, Li Jing did not spend much energy on this matter, because the base was initially built and the Sky Eye was in control at all times. They already had enough ability to manage the smooth progress of this project. Over a month, the development of Tanyan Technology Company is in full swing. Not only did it spend a huge amount of money to directly acquire a large factory with high-tech production level, but it also developed several new branch projects based on the original membership fee system. instant messaging, games, reading, and several other projects were established by the group's subsidiaries that were reorganized by acquiring existing industries. In addition, Danyan Technology has also opened a virtual currency recharge service. 1 yuan of RMB is equal to 1 T of Danyan currency. These things are all handled by General Manager Chen Dan, and Li Jing is just controlling the direction and checking the results. Most of his thoughts are still on the physical training method Wuji Jinshin. Wuji Jinshin is unfathomable and extremely mysterious. It is divided into 13 levels in total, and each level has huge changes that are very different. Li Jing relies on his current achievements, but he can only understand the true meaning of the first 2 levels, and even if he insists on practicing, he will probably be stuck at the 3rd level. Wuji means boundless, endless, and without a center. It is the true meaning of vastness and tolerance. It is a more vast and broad meaning of tolerance than the true meaning of Tai Kai. The first level, the unity of yin and yang, is to remove all impurities in the body, leaving only the purest yin and yang power, and then combine the yin and yang power that has been integrated into one, which is the real entry-level skill. Li Jing thought about this level of mental method no less than 100 times, but he was still conditioning himself and did not really take the step to practice. Because one is not fully understood, rushing forward will only get half the result with twice the effort. Li Jing bought many low-level body training techniques in the system mall. He was preparing for the advanced technique Wuji Jinshin. Another point is that to practice Wuji Jinshin, it is necessary to remove impurities in the body. In this technique, even a considerable part of Li Jing's blood will be classified as garbage. And not only that, Li Jing did not understand the true meaning of this technique. After practicing, how much influence the golden body would have on the ability to control cells. These are all things that must be taken into consideration. Otherwise, if this golden body is only strong in defense, but cannot be transformed freely, then the force will not increase but decrease at that time, and Li Jing will never let this happen. Therefore, the best way is to create a physical training technique that is dedicated to improving the strength of cells, a technique that is most suitable for oneself. Otherwise, no matter how much you practice, you are just abolishing your own strengths and catering to others' things. 3 days passed quickly, and the first batch of 100 people's trials officially ended. Only 8 people survived, and the elimination rate was as high as 92%. This is because the data of the first batch of trials need to be carefully calculated and recorded, so the difficulty of the test was slightly reduced. Otherwise, without water to drink, without food, and always in an overly tense state, these people can't even think of spending a day safely. Kaka 2-meter-high hole opened in the stone house. This hole was the passage leading to the outside of the stone house cube. The 8 people were in a very bad state. They looked at each other and then looked at the opened hole again. They still couldn't believe it. 3 days were just like a nightmare, and it was a long and hopeless nightmare. The number of people exceeded the limit and they fought, the organs and secret passages killed, and the tasks were assigned to assassinate. In the end, all the remaining 30 or so people were gathered in a large stone house. Kill for food, kill for very little water. Even at the last stage of the 3 days, for the limited 8 survivors, they launched a brutal killing like releasing their beastly nature. Chapter 188 Snake Slave. Congratulations, everyone. Being here means that you have passed the preliminary test. Next, let me introduce your situation and what you need to do next. The sudden voice, in English, was from a man wearing a black tactical vest. This man seemed to be in his 30s, but his weathered face was covered with several deep scars. Who are you? Where is this place? Kidnapping? It was Hannah who spoke. Although she was extremely embarrassed at this time, she survived anyway. Not only her, but even Xiaoyun beside her seemed to be fine. Xiaoyun did not stop Hannah's questioning, but stood aside and watched coldly. He did not expect to get the answer easily, but he still wanted to get some useful clues through the next observation. The 2 of them were able to survive, all thanks to Hannah's intuition, some useful equipment, and Xiaoyun's analysis and consideration. Only after several dangerous situations did they finally reach this step alive. Kidnapping? You can think so. The black-clothed man with scars on his face paused for a moment, and then grinned cruelly. but you have no chance to go back. Even if you die, the result will be the same. Why? What do you want to do? Money? My father is famous in the United States. No need. If you still have a little brain, put away that ridiculous performance. It seems that I really have to teach you what to say and what to do. Otherwise, if the leader knows, you will implicate me. The scarred man sneered again, and looked at the 8 people with sharp eyes, as if he was looking at a lamb to be slaughtered. Leader? Xiaoyun spoke softly, and the other 7 people were directly scattered in a mess, apparently trying to find a way out and leave this ghost place as soon as possible. However, this is a closed space. Although the place is huge, it is dozens of meters high and hundreds of meters long and wide. At a glance, the door at the end is not open. Behave yourself, you bunch of rookies. Snap! The black-clothed man sneered, grabbed his right wrist with his left hand, and suddenly a thick wooden stick emerged from the palm of his raised right hand. Would release, prison. Whoosh whoosh, the wooden pole branched out, extending layer by layer, aiming at the 8 people in the field and surrounding them. Ah, what the hell is this? What the hell is this? How is it possible? The 8 people were shocked. Even the extremely rational Xiaoyun was shocked. What is this? It must be a ninjutsu that only exists in comics. In reality, how could there be such an existence that goes against science? Bang bang bang. No matter what the 8 people thought, facing such a power, they had no power to resist. In just a blink of an eye, the 8 people were all locked in the wooden prison. What on earth do you want to do? You don't want money. Is there anything else you can use us for? Pervert, let us out. Why? Why is that? Several people were arguing and talking in different languages. It was impossible to calm down. The man in black frowned and snorted coldly, and stepped closer to the 8 wooden prisons. You are really too noisy. If it weren't for the order from the leader himself, I would have wanted to kill you immediately. Humphrey, if you don't listen, I have plenty of ways to treat you. Pay Papa. The man in black clapped his hands, and a secret door on the wall of the vast room suddenly opened. 16 men in black entered one by one, and the last 8 people each carried a silver metal box. Papa, sir. Yes, the scarred man nodded, and the 8 people stood in a row and opened the metal boxes in their hands together. Inside the metal boxes were 5 uniform metal rings and a black injection. Bring them. Yes, sir. The other 8 personnel took out the things in the metal box, and regardless of Hannah and others' struggles and shouts, they all put black gold patterned rings on their necks, hands and feet. Injection. Yes, sir. 8 medicines, 1 for each person. Hannah and others could only passively bear it, and had no power to resist at all. You should feel honored. Otherwise, even if you are sold, you can't afford such valuable good things. As if feeling unworthy, the scarred man glanced at the 8 people with some contempt. He spoke in Chinese this time, but Hannah and others widened their eyes and couldn't believe it, because they actually understood it. The black gold patterned ring, 5 rings in a set, is called Snake Slave, which is just a low-level work developed by other Cobra bases. Although it is only low-level, the role of Snake Slave is very practical, with a series of operating methods such as translation, confinement, gravity, punishment, and sanctions. For Hannah and others, this Snake Slave will probably become their nightmare for a long time. As for the Black Potion, it is a product developed and researched using nanoworm technology, which has many functions such as repair, strengthening, transformation, imprisonment, and sanctions. Because ordinary people are still too fragile, if they are not strengthened, they will probably be trained to death by the scarred man before they can help Li Jing. The training of the logistics team is not a matter of one day or one night. What Li Jing needs is a group that can help him, not a burden that needs his protection to survive in the battle. If that is the case, it would be better to fight alone. Hannah and the other 8 are arranged, and the formal training is about to begin. The second batch of trial personnel in the plan is also being further screened. I believe that it will not take long before another group of people will disappear around the world. As for Li Jing, he was still worrying about the physical training method. Apart from calling his hometown every now and then to tell them that he was starting a company with his friends to make money, Li Jing spent the rest of his time focusing on the method. It was too difficult to create a method of his own. If the method he created was too low level, It would be better not to create it, but if he wanted to be advanced, it would take a long time. The Wuji Jinshin was not bad, but it was not suitable. What Li Jing could do now was to learn the theoretical knowledge as quickly as possible, then he could follow this line of thought to create something of his own, but it would not take too long. Chapter 189 Level 5 Space-Time 2015. Time passed, and more than a month passed again. Everything in the Hawaii base was developing steadily, and the capacity of the underground space was also expanding further. The Hawaii base, named DX-1 Base, is the first logistics fortress built by Li Jing on Earth. The first step of the entire base plan has been completely completed. After reaching a depth of 1,000 meters underground, the later projects will expand layer by layer like a triple pyramid shape, until finally, the overall construction will go nearly 10,000 meters underground. All of this was done without anyone knowing. The upper level of the base was protected by multiple barriers, not to mention being broken into. Even if you want to discover the situation here, it is extremely difficult. Things at the base are going on schedule, and the development of Sky technology is becoming more and more rapid and complete. The logistics team that Li Jing needs is also undergoing emergency training and integration at this time. In addition, the day of time and space travel is about to come again. Li Jing went home once during the Chinese New Year. This time he drove back and only stayed at home for 10 days. After drinking with his father and chatting with his mother, and after eating the New Year's Eve dinner and watching the Spring Festival Gala, Li Jing just visited the acquaintances in the village and showed his face. In his hometown, there are only some childhood playmates and a few relatives. Apart from that, Li Jing's social circle is not wide. The usual contacts are just phone calls between classmates and friends. It is rare that they actually meet once or twice. Even the class reunions during the Chinese New Year, Li Jing has not participated much in previous years, and as for now, it is even more impossible to talk to each other. It's not that Li Jing doesn't need to socialize, but that he can no longer fit in. Since Li Jing began to travel through time and space, he has been separated from the people around him. This is not a problem of mentality, but it is essentially the case. When the friends around him are still worrying about work, partners, what to eat, losing weight, and getting married, Li Jing has long been out of this range. If you insist on maintaining this pitiful friendship, then in the end, all you will get is a bunch of lies. By the way, the estrangement of the relationship will remain the same until there is nothing left. Moreover, even if Wang Bao, Ding Mo and other classmates who are relatively close to him, as well as girls like Shen Tingting and Zhuke, call to make appointments, Li Jing will push it away if he can, and give in if he can, not to mention taking the initiative. Li Jing did not think too much about these trivial matters, because such existence cannot be forced at all. It is better to let it go naturally. Even his own emotional problems are left to the careless attitude of doing whatever he wants. In the space-time system, in the center of the building that looks like a coliseum, there are a total of 7 people standing on the smooth and bright floor. 6 of them are in the back, and a young man in black is in the front. Li Jing, followed by Kakashi, Akaichi, and 4 newcomers Xiang Yun, Hana, White, and Juju. More than a month may seem short, but it is enough to change a person's values, outlook on life, and worldview. The 3 views are all changed. At this time, the 4 newcomers are like well-trained soldiers, serious and looking straight ahead. The newcomers' training is completed in 1 month. At this time, Kakashi is their leader. In Kakashi, the ability of Senryu Wangxian is fully revealed. Without affecting his personality and IQ, his original character has been completely changed. As for Akaichi, Li Jing gave him the identity of a thug and a nanny. Before the value of the newcomer is reflected, he naturally needs protection. If he can't stand the test at all, Li Jing will not hesitate to eliminate him. Butler, let's start. After closing the mall, Li Jing put away the things he bought. This time he spent another 45,000 points, and spent all the income of more than 2 months of 700 points a day from the 2 time and space bridges. At this point, the points were only the last 30,000. Li Jing was not going to use these 30,000 points anymore, because he had an immature idea in his mind, and this idea needed time to be further verified. Okay, sir, but this time is different from the past, sir. You still have to be more careful. Li Jing nodded slightly, and the housekeeper said no more. As he waved his hand, an orange gate appeared from the ground and slowly rose. Level 5, compared with the world of Naruto, the level 5 space-time is one level higher. Li Jing's face was normal, and no one knew what he was thinking at the moment. Level 5 space-time was not beyond his expectations. This was just like why he didn't choose fixed-point transmission when he had points in his hand, because as long as there were beings in the Gudang universe, entering any space-time would probably be more risky than before. This was not a rigid positioning of the offset, but the essence was like this. Enter. With an order, the 6 people behind Li Jing flew into the space-time gate together and disappeared without a trace. And Li Jing did not hesitate and followed closely and stepped in. Time and space flowed, and when I came back to my senses, the scene had changed. Oh, come baby, oh bitch, oh, this is a small bedroom. 2 white men and women are doing shameless things on the bed, obviously extremely happy and joyful. But before this great experiment of creating a human being is completed, 6 people appeared out of thin air. 4 of them stepped directly on the bed in this bedroom, and 1 even fell on the man's back. Shit. Li Jing appeared, and the first thing that caught his eye was the screams of 2 naked men and women. Frowning slightly, Li Jing waved his hand, turned around and disappeared into the wall next to him. Not long after, Kakashi and the other 6 followed closely behind him, opened the door and walked into the living room, and behind them, no more screams could be heard. Let's get started. Yes, Kakashi responded, and with a wave of his hand, except for Akaichi, the other 4 newcomers immediately dispersed, and one of them disappeared with Kakashi. This living room is quite luxurious, with a typical European and American style. Li Jing sat on a sofa and waited slowly. The time was not very long, less than 10 minutes, and the 5 people who were acting separately gathered again. My lord, this place belongs to Las Vegas, and the time is 2013. There have been no major events worth paying attention to recently, and the latest news is that a wealthy man named Tony Stark in Washington is rebuilding the energy building in the near future. Xiaoyun was the leader of the 4 newcomers, and he stepped forward and saluted to report. Tony Stark, Iron Man? Li Jing frowned slightly. How could the 5th level world be so simple? Dingdy the Sky issued a prompt, proving that it had integrated the information on the internet. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 190 Independent Action. Ding, a light screen popped up from the sky, showing various data files. Li Jing sat there browsing, but asked again, "You do? Why did you give yourself such a name?" Xiaoyun bowed his head slightly. "Sir, call me boss." "Yes, boss." "You do is not clear. Endangering life." "I just let myself play the role I should play." Xiaoyun's words were simple and clear, but Li Jing still heard a different charm from it. "Want to find a sense of existence." "You do? Is it to leave a deep impression on people?" "I think the nicknames of the other 3 people are also carefully thought out by themselves, with different meanings." "What do you think about this new time and space?" "Just say it." "Xiaoyun." "You do." "Hana, Fengzhen, White, Steel Shield, Juju, Suyin." The 4 looked at each other slightly, and Xiaoyun still answered Li Jing's question. "Boss, since this world is divided into 5 levels by the system, it must have its special features, and the appearance of Iron Man is enough to prove this world, because looking at the connection with the movie Iron Man, only Avengers can be called a time and space above level 3. As for Marvel Comics, that kind of existence must be above level 5. Therefore, according to our analysis, the probability of this time and space being the movie Avengers is more than 70%. As for the fact that the movie does not show the force that a level 5 world should have, judging from this point, the character similar to Thanos in the comics that appears at the end of the movie is probably Thanos' clone or something like that, And not only that, the birthplace of Thor and the evil god Loki, the divine realm, is also a large force of hidden nature. That is to say, in addition to the characters that have already appeared in this time and space, there are many other hidden forces. These are the final factors for the time and space to be judged as level 5. Li Jing nodded slightly. These things are not much different from what he considered. Li Jing has seen the Avengers, and there is also information about this movie and comics in the Sky. The 5th level space-time is not enough for the Thanos-like characters in the comics to appear. Otherwise, even with Li Jing's current military power, he can only be a simple delivery. As for the Thanos-like figure that appeared in the last Easter egg of the movie, it is estimated that at most it should be the real Thanos' clone, and Thanos' real body, no matter what the reason, will definitely not appear in this space-time, or, that picture is too far away from the Earth. According to the judgment of the system, it does not belong to the same space-time as the Earth, and it must not be a simple matter for Thanos to come to the Earth, because destruction is easy, coexistence is difficult. For an existence like Thanos, it is estimated that the Earth has been overwhelmed and collapsed before it has arrived on the Earth. Although the system's analysis may not be 100% correct, no matter what, a system that can query the long river of space-time history will be stronger than Li Jing himself, who has just traveled through space-time a few times. So this is still a conclusion that can be recognized. Otherwise, even if you make some preparations, a character like Thanos cannot make up for the gap with tricks. Since you have been able to analyze the intelligence of this space-time, I allow you to start acting independently now. As for the purpose, you can do it yourself. Contact me in 3 months and I will listen to your report. Yes, boss. Without any hesitation, Xiang Yun agreed very straightforwardly, because he understood that as a newcomer, he must have the awareness of being a newcomer. If he cannot reflect the due value, then there is nothing to say about the result of being eliminated. This truth, whether it is the first 100-person trial or the final 8-person elimination match, has proved this point for Xiang Yun very well. Seeing Li Jing waving his hand, Xiang Yun and the other 4 nodded. They were dressed in suits, each carrying a black suitcase, and they all left the door without saying a word. Las Vegas, a world-famous international gambling city. Xiang Yun and the other 4 took the stairs downstairs and left this very luxurious hotel in the shortest time. During this journey, no one spoke. It was not until they were 10 kilometers away from Li Jing that the 4 of them found a relatively remote residential building and found a place to stay in this place temporarily. As for the original owner of the house, the 4 did not kill him in advance, but subdued and tied him up and temporarily placed him in the bathroom. In the living room, the 4 people gathered and sat together. After Xiang Yun glanced around, he was the first to speak. I don't need to remind you of the significance of this action. Everyone should understand that if there are people who disobey the command, I will personally send him out. We all came here together, and everyone knows what the situation is. Captain, you do. Let's talk about our next move. If anyone dares to withdraw, I, Steel Shield, will be the first to take your life. White, a white man, spoke while looking at the other 2 girls with a scrutinizing look. Hannah and Juju, both of whom were about 20 years old, did not care about White's shouting, but waited for Xiang Yun's further instructions. Avengers, we will have to watch this movie a few more times in a while. I will now tell you the general plot and what we are going to do next. Since the boss has allowed us to act independently and play freely, I think after the test of the trial, everyone should know the true meaning of it. Xiang Yun paused for a moment, then spoke again. The movie tells the story of American heroes fighting against villains. The main characters on the positive side include Iron Man, Captain America, the Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and the one-eyed black man Nick Fury, the operations commander of SHIELD, while the villain is Thor's brother, the evil god Loki, and the alien army he brought with him when he opened the wormhole in time and space. We will see the detailed plot later. For our next action, the first step is to find out the time period here and the central factors surrounding the whole thing. The current location of the cosmic cube. We don't need to touch this thing. All we have to do is to obtain as much intelligence as possible within 3 months. and obtain the most valuable information. And this information requires confidential files that cannot be found on the internet. Why, Captain, don't we help the boss fight? Or if we can get the cosmic cube, we can also get a lot of points with the boss, right? White said. Obviously he had also seen the movie. Xiaoyun shook his head slightly. No, our fighting power is dispensable to the boss and is not enough to change anything. So to reflect our value, we must do something that the boss cannot solve by force. Moreover, even the information available on the internet is not enough. I think the emergence of the smart butler is enough for you to understand the key to this problem. P.S. Book Group 170.756.165. Thank you all for your votes and rewards. Muah. Friends who are interested can come to the group to chat together. Chapter 191. Endless Reincarnation. Hannah, Juju, and even White nodded slightly. Indeed, if the boss controls the intelligent system, then if he wants to obtain any information, the existence on the network will probably be as free as his own backyard. If force can't help, and the network can't get in, then there is only one way left, which is to rely on one's own ability to get more confidential and useful information from some channels where force and network are not effective. Xiaoyun and the other four are still discussing here, and Li Jing, who is still staying in the luxury hotel, has already received the historical information given by the system. Time and space are indeed Avengers. It's true that there is less than half a year before the arrival of the evil god Loki. This means that the cosmic cube is still in the hands of SHIELD, and the members of the League of Legends are also scattered at this time, busy with their own affairs. It is not easy to rule this world. Li Jing doesn't believe that the 5th level time and space will be weaker than the power possessed by the Naruto world. Are the original characters more capable, or will the hidden forces surface in the future? If the strength of the Avengers is like what is shown in the movie, then this time and space cannot be classified as level 5. At this time, Li Jing was the only one left in the room to think alone. Even Kakashi and Akaichi were nowhere to be found. The reason why the four newcomers were allowed to act alone was another obvious test for Li Jing. As for the logistics team, what Li Jing wanted was support and guarantee that could cope with various emergencies. For example, in an era without the internet, in a time and space dominated by fantasy, how to obtain useful intelligence information was a very realistic problem. Therefore, what Li Jing needed was logistics and nannies who could help him, rather than a useless team that was always under his protection. Boss, the satellite system has been broken through and can now be controlled for half an hour. As for the core system, it will take longer to decipher the code. No, half an hour is enough. Let's get started. Okay, boss. Li Jing sat on the sofa, tapping his fingers on the armrest and waiting slowly. It didn't take long, only about 20 minutes, and the voice of the sky rang again. Ding boss, Stark Tower is located in New York City, 4,000 kilometers away, and Tony Stark himself is also there. Although the satellites have not accurately located the locations of Bruce Banner, the Hulk, and Steve Rogers, the Captain of the United States, I have also found their whereabouts through the internet. As for the SHIELD spacecraft carrier, it is still hiding in the Atlantic Ocean, and I have also found their coordinates at this time. The three-dimensional image popped up by the sky flowed slightly with its introduction, making it convenient for Li Jing to see the picture clearly. Well, leave a backup plan, so that you can always lock on the movements of these people. Got it, boss? Putting away the image, Li Jing sat in place and thought, the overall composition of this world is a bit biased, and it can even be called a deformed existence. The stronger the strong, the weaker the weak, whether it is military force, financial resources, or technology, resources. It is basically the same. The power of the country is not weak, with airplanes, aircraft carriers, nuclear bombs, energy guns, etc., and even new energy researched and manufactured by large chaebols such as Stark Industries, as well as a series of steel armor. In addition, there are too many research laboratories affiliated with the country. Even the origin of the Hulk is the same, and there are others, from space fortresses to weapons and guns, as well as biochemical and biological, and the types are countless. However, although this country is so prosperous and powerful, The development of civilian technology is just a chicken feather. Even most of the high-tech is developed under little-known circumstances, and it will be hidden for decades before it has a chance to be used. This has created an alternative abnormal state. When foreign enemies come, civilians still need heroes to rescue them. Even if they want to resist, they are powerless and have no way to start. Jing thinks about these, not to sympathize with the weak, but to think about his future development model. Although weak and silent civilians are easier to manage, this situation is like a pure chicken farm. When the wolf comes, it can only rely on the watchdog to drive it away, and the chickens have no power to resist. This result is half good and half bad. It has a stable ruling position, but it is easy to be invaded by foreign enemies. Shaking his head slightly, Jing glanced at these thoughts aside. Now the first thing to think about is how to maximize the benefits of this time and space travel. As for the others, there are 100 ways to answer 100 people. When the boat reaches the bridge, it will be straight. The Avengers. It is difficult to build a time and space bridge in this time and space, not because of the Avengers members themselves, but because of the power behind them. For example, the God's domain behind Thor. Although the God's domain is called the territory of God, in Jing's view, it is not the omnipotent true God of creation, but just a group of powerful creatures called the God's clan by himself. Although it is right to think so, Jing did not underestimate the power from the God's domain. The time and space bridge of the system is like the rainbow bridge used by Thor to cross the universe in the movie Thor. This means that if the power of the God's domain is not completely eliminated or defeated, even if the time and space bridge is built, the characters from the God's domain can also cross the time and space bridge through the rainbow bridge to reach the Earth where Jing is. Jing would never allow this situation to happen, because the Earth where he is the real base camp. How could he allow other outsiders to land there? Even if the bridge of time and space is not built, Jing will never let it happen. Boss, the waiter is coming up. Yeah, Jing nodded slightly, and when he looked at the sofa again, there was no figure there. Whoosh, the strong wind blew, and Jing's robe was fluttering in the sky. He looked down at the ground under his feet, this world-famous casino that never sleeps. At this time, he had an indescribable feeling in his heart. Red lips and flames, past events gone with the wind, military battles, reincarnation. History will eventually be forgotten, and the future will become history. Whether it is the Lord of the Nine Kingdoms in Special Forces or the Emperor of all things in the world of Naruto, the seemingly young Jing has been fighting for more than 10 years. A world is like a story, and a story is like a person's life. No matter how prosperous the city is, it will eventually wither and decay. The same is true for me. Even if I live for tens of thousands of years, I will eventually be eroded by time and turn into a cup of yellow earth and disappear with the wind. The cycle of heaven and earth is endless. No matter how much I do, is it just to witness the most glorious moment? Chapter 192, Inner Demon. Boss. Boss. Still no one answered. The voice of the sky called out again and again, but Jing seemed to be trapped in his own memories, without any other reaction. Boss. The sky shouted loudly, obviously really anxious. Although it didn't know what state Jing was in at the moment, just looking at his current state, it was enough to know that the situation was not optimistic. Jing still had no reaction. At this moment, he was indeed at a critical moment of life and death to a certain extent. Inner demon. This word can be used to represent Jing's current situation. He has always been smooth sailing and bravely advancing, and most of his strength comes from external intervention. Whether it is the upgrade of cell control or the qualitative change effect of chakra, not to mention the brain mental power developed by the power of the creation furnace. Although the creation furnace is called the power of creation, it will not produce any side effects when used. But external forces are external forces. Even if its ability is strong, it will leave unpredictable hidden dangers, and this kind of hidden danger can only be said to be hidden deeper and less likely to be discovered. But what exists is what exists, just like the invisible genes that Jing analyzed before. Existence exists. The hidden dangers of the flesh, the hidden dangers of the energy system, and the hidden dangers of spiritual power, plus the previous sudden change of mentality as a fuse, are now like an ignited barrel of explosives, which is simply out of control. With dull eyes and a face like a dead tree, Li Jing's mind is now divided into two thoughts and two spiritual powers. One is the increasingly powerful reincarnation is everything, time is the master, human efforts are always useless, and we should let go of everything and choose to be selfless, colorless and heartless. The other is the precarious original self, which emphasizes freedom, emotion and color, just to climb to the top and see the small mountains. In essence, the newborn is like Buddha nature, while the self is more like demon nature. But in fact, for Li Jing's self, the newborn Buddha nature is more like demon, because as long as Li Jing can't stand being invaded by the new life, then he will be like being hit by someone else's all things in the world, and his personality will be completely changed into another self. The personality is changed, which means complete extinction. Even if there is the legendary reincarnation, it is impossible to establish your own personality. In his mind, the illusory Dharma image belonging to Li Jing's self is now shrouded in a cloud of gray fog. Various expressions appear in the gray fog from time to time, and all the expressions are Li Jing's own appearance. Life and death, life after life, endless reincarnation, so painful and difficult. Why not let go of everything as soon as possible and merge with me? You are me, I will become you. People live a lifetime, pigs and dogs live a lifetime. Righteousness and courage come first, loyalty and filial piety are difficult to achieve. It's too hard and tiring, let it go, let go of everything. You and I will get real liberation. Survival, yearning, ideals, struggle, the sound is in the ears, like a demonic sound, and it can't be stopped. Li Jing's eyes are drooping, sitting cross-legged in the void. But his figure is becoming weaker and weaker with the erosion of time and demonic sound. The voice of the sky was heard, and even the tattoo space was sending a force to help Li Jing overcome this difficulty. But all these external forces were rejected by Li Jing. In the past, it was because too many shortcuts were taken that the existence of Hard Demon appeared now. Now, Li Jing has to rely on his own strength to get through and break through. If you pass it, go one step further. If you fail, you will never retreat whether you live or die. Come on. Li Jing's Dharma image suddenly opened his eyes, and the eye of all things transformed by his spirit had already been successfully assembled. Inner demon, I have come this far entirely by myself. I am just a parasite that has just appeared. How dare you speak so arrogantly here? Die. Buzzed the pattern in Li Jing's eyes suddenly rotated, and a strange spiritual fluctuation burst out directly around him. Netherworld ghost prison. A green flame suddenly flashed out with Li Jing's eye of all things as the cornerstone, and combined into a burning green prison in midair. Swish tilde tilde. The gray fog composed of the inner demon just emitted wisps of green smoke as soon as it touched the prison, and screamed. The green prison flowed and transformed, only encircling the inner demon in an increasingly smaller range. Li Jing, I am you, and you are me. If you kill me, you will also hurt yourself. Idiot. It's true that you were born from me, but you are fundamentally different from me. Let alone hurting yourself, even if it is so, I will never hesitate to kill you. Hey! Li Jing's Dharma image stood up, and the pattern of the all-seeing eye in his eyes rotated again, and the green prison that surrounded the hard demon shone brightly for a while, tightening and shrinking. Don't even think about it. Even if I am destroyed, I will drag you to hell with me. Roar tilde. The last roar of the hard demon was like a beast's roar. Regardless of the pursuit and interception of the green prison, it directly gathered all its strength into one, turning it into a gray sword and slashing at Li Jing's Dharma image. Humphrey, naive. Li Jing snorted coldly, and the pattern in his eyes rotated more violently. A green flame burst out again, directly blocking the gray sword. Bang. A light sound, mixed with another scream of the hard demon. Like Li Jing's Dharma, the hard demon of the same origin also has all of Li Jing's memories, but their essence is still mental power. Li Jing can use mental power to transform the eye of all things, but the hard demon cannot do this at all because he has just been born. It's your fault that you don't know how to advance or retreat. You just grew a brain and you want to think crookedly. It's not unfair for you to die. Buzz. Li Jing's Dharma put his hands together, and the green netherworld ghost prison also gathered together, surrounding the gray fog of the hard demon. Roar tilde. The heart demon roared loudly. How could it not know how to hide when it has Li Jing's memories? However, it seems that Li Jing himself automatically fell into memories and fell into the fog he set up. This situation can only happen once and not twice. It is not so easy to wait for the opportunity without firing a shot. Maybe before the opportunity comes, he will be discovered by the self who has cultivated to a higher level. Disappear. As Li Jing finished speaking, the netherworld ghost prison automatically shrank and merged, forcing the heart demon gray fog to the only remaining place in the center. Roar tilde. Don't be too complacent. As long as you have distracting thoughts, I will be resurrected again to take your ... HMPH. Screaming and snorting, Li Jing showed no mercy and shrunk the green netherworld ghost prison to the extreme, corroding the heart demon gray fog and melting it cleanly. P.S. Thank you for your support. I recommend a friend's entry book, Escape from Adversity, Resident Evil, which is about the theme of the end of the world. I read it and felt it was pretty good. Interested book friends may wish to take a look and support it. Thank you. Muah. Chapter 193 Infinity Gems. As if he breathed a sigh of relief, the heart demon was destroyed, and Li Jing's Dharma image was relieved, feeling that he was getting weaker and weaker. What the heart demon said was not wrong. It was born with the help of Li Jing's self-power, and naturally it would share a part of Li Jing's power. The heart demon was destroyed, to a certain extent. It also weakened Li Jing himself a lot, because this is using one's own power to destroy one's own power. It is a family fighting against one's own family. Even so, Li Jing did not feel that he had lost anything at this time. Strength is something that can be recovered after it is lost, but if the personality is occupied by the heart demon, then it is really the end of the road and there is no day to turn over. What's more, the destruction of the heart demon can also be regarded as sorting out one's own shortcomings. The road to go in the future will naturally be smooth and there will be no obstacles, unless there is a more difficult level of cultivation than this. In the void, Li Jing, who defeated the heart demon, slowly opened his eyes. Although his body was normal, he had lost nearly half of his mental power out of thin air. Boss, you finally woke up. I was so scared just now. Well, it's okay, let's go down first. Interrupting Sky Eye's question, Li Jing moved through time and space and appeared at an unmanned intersection on the ground. Without hesitation, Li Jing's perception ability emanated, and in the next second, he appeared directly in a luxuriously decorated presidential suite. Sky Eye, break into the SHIELD database, download all useful information and secret files of various countries. Don't let any of them go. Understood, boss. Yes. Li Jing nodded slightly, and then sat cross-legged on an exquisite carpet. The sequelae of eradicating the inner demon are not so easy to get through. Even the current Li Jing needs at least some time to consolidate and sort out his own strength. Otherwise, it is easy to leave flaws, and it may provide effective help for the next foreign body invasion. 3 days passed in a flash, and Li Jing slowly opened his eyes. This is a pair of eyes that can make people hallucinate unconsciously, and it is also a pair of confusing eyes that can make people deeply trapped and unable to extricate themselves. 3 days is too short for cultivation, but Li Jing eradicated his inner demons, broke through and then established himself. The Taiyan divine art he cultivated has reached the peak of the 3rd level of breaking the elixir and becoming a phase in such a short time. I believe it won't take long for Li Jing to cultivate to the 4th level. This time, Li Jing did not use external forces, but used his own strength after defeating the inner demons to cultivate the Taiyan divine art to this point, and there will definitely be no other side effects. Boss, I have integrated some of the information, but there are too many secrets around the world. There are countless secret laboratories that not many people know about, not to mention the scientific research projects that are personally guarded by various countries. Take your time, as long as it is useful. All other irrelevant information will be eliminated, including information about various big figures. I am not interested in knowing this. Got it, boss? Li Jing nodded slightly and stood up. The most important prop in the time and space of Avengers is the Cosmic Cube, and the main line of the whole story is realized around it. This thing should still be in the hands of SHIELD. If the Cosmic Cube is obtained, How should the evil god Loki appear again? Another point is that the people from the Lonely Lamp universe mentioned by the system housekeeper have not shown any signs of appearing yet. And even with Li Jing's current perception ability, he can't find any trace of these people. Is it because they haven't come yet, or is it because the abilities of these people are all unfathomable? In this world, Li Jing has only a few limited goals. First, to obtain various data in this world. Second, obtain important props such as the cosmic cube and Loki's scepter, as well as serum samples of the Avengers and other people, and samples of other people with special abilities that may exist in this world. Third, obtain specific information from the creatures in the Lonely Light universe. In this regard, there is a 90% chance that a battle will occur, because no matter how the other party considers it, Li Jing does not want them to be able to return alive, or in other words, he does not want them to be alive to pass on the information here back to the Lonely Light universe. In the current situation, Li Jing currently has only these three goals. As for the others, the trial of the newcomers is just a side job, and there is no need to rush to build the bridge of time and space in an uncertain state. It's time to act. After thinking it over, Li Jing regained his ease and naturalness. He smiled slightly, and his figure disappeared. The first purpose, the sky is already in action, and the second purpose, Li Jing will take out a part of the troops in the tattoo space before going to the location of the cosmic cube and start it. These troops are the latest developed third-generation legions of the 8 divisions. Compared with the second generation, the third generation has more powerful and superb abilities. 200 personnel, receiving intelligence from the sky, went to various parts of the world to search for people with special abilities and secret laboratories. Some information that the network cannot carry, as well as physical objects, all of which require the third generation of the 8 divisions to solve. After arranging these, Li Jing teleported to the powerful energy source that he could not block no matter how he perceived it. The cosmic cube is one of the 6 infinity stones in the Marvel universe. It has almost infinite energy and the power of space. It can be used to open the door of time and space, and can transport huge armies and supplies to other time and space in the shortest time. This is somewhat similar to the ability of the system, and if it is properly manipulated, the cosmic cube can also be used as an extremely powerful high-energy weapon. Not only that, the Infinity Stones are said to have great power and strength. The Mind Stone inlaid on Loki's scepter is also one of them, and according to various data, in addition to the 6 Infinity Stones known to people, there is also an epic 7th stone. All this information was integrated by the sky. Li Jing sat on the flying bird, watching while moving quickly towards the location of the cosmic cube. Li Jing did not use the space-time ninjutsu to move, but tried his own summoning technique on the way. The summoning technique and space-time ninjutsu are similar in the use of different time and space, and both use the effect of different time and space to carry out long-distance actions. For example, in reality, from point A to point B, in addition to physical movement, there is also the folded space in theory to travel through wormholes. The different time and space used in space-time ninjutsu and summoning techniques are theoretically used to replace the effect of wormholes. P.S. I recommend this book to friends. Nano Equation is a Zerg article in the skin of a sci-fi apocalypse. The idea is good. Friends who are interested, please support it. Thank you. Chapter 194 Cosmic Cube. Sharingan. Obito's spatial eye has its own exclusive space-time space, and the power of the 6 paths of yin and yang also has the ability to open up space-time. Therefore, it is not impossible for Li Jing, who has these 2 abilities, to open up his own space-time into a space that can accommodate the existence of summoned beasts. And it only takes time and energy. Although it is still a long way to perfect his own space-time, Li Jing feels that this road must be opened up, and as soon as possible. Otherwise, Li Jing can't afford the huge consumption of using summoned beasts every time, not to mention that there are many benefits after perfecting the space-time. At least the idea of carrying a large army to fight can be implemented, because if the environment of the space-time is transformed to be suitable for summoned beasts to live, then it is understandable to live with some humans. This is equivalent to being able to carry a huge logistical support with you. Even if the laboratory is moved to the space-time, It can be done. Li Jing was experimenting and thinking at the same time, flying all the way to the place where the cosmic cube existed, tens of thousands of kilometers away, outside an isolated island in the South Pacific. A strange and inexplicable wave suddenly appeared in the void. Swish swish swish, 5 figures suddenly flashed out, including men and women. Although their clothes were luxurious and exquisite, their appearance was no different from that of the people on Earth. The void slowly returned to normal, and the 5 figures fell straight into the sea and stood on the waves. In terms of the position they stood, it seemed that the 4 of them were led by a black-haired young man in the front. The black-haired young man looked a little cold and had a slender figure. The clothes he wore were somewhat similar to close-fitting chainmail, but because of the extremely close-fitting material problems, this set of clothes looked more like a tactical vest. The young man glanced at the surrounding environment, suddenly raised his head and smiled inexplicably, and his eyes were extremely dazzling blood red. Waved his hand and disappeared. From the beginning to the end, the 5 strange people who appeared did not say a word, and then they disappeared again. This is the short moment captured by the sky eye through the satellite. Even the pupils of the young man are the reason why the young man smiled inexplicably at the sky. Li Jing turned off the screen and frowned slightly. Was he discovered? The person who came should be the person from the Gudang universe. It seems that these people's abilities are indeed extraordinary. They hide themselves and even they can't find the slightest clue. Sky Eye, set up the surveillance system. The range is within 5,000 kilometers of New York City. Okay, boss. Li Jing nodded and took out a colorless and transparent sphere from the tattoo space. The sphere was not big, just one size larger than an apple. With a little force, the transparent sphere flew out of Li Jing's palm and landed directly in New York City below. Bang! With a slight sound, the transparent sphere that landed over New York suddenly exploded, scattered into small particles, and then disappeared. DD boss, the database has been established, and the image transmission has been successfully linked. As Tanyan spoke, the image popped up on Li Jing's watch, like a densely packed hornet's nest, divided into various areas, and the small grids formed by each area. The previous transparent sphere contained hundreds of millions of transparent nanoworms. This newly developed nanoworm is smaller in size and transparent and colorless. After hiding in the environment, it does not carry any energy and is difficult to be easily discovered. Tanyan, as the operation center and control center, receives and processes all the messages received by the nanoworms. However, because most of Tanyan's computing power is deciphering databases around the world, and the long-term processing of hundreds of millions of images also requires a certain amount of data calculation, it is not possible to use this surveillance system without scruples. Swish! After the surveillance system was set up, Li Jing disappeared again in the air, and when he appeared again, he was already in a secret base. This secret base is at least thousands of kilometers away from the center of New York City, and it is also in an unknown place hundreds of meters underground. The entire base was extremely huge in Li Jing's perception, and there was also a military base on the ground, where at least a regiment of thousands of soldiers were stationed, and its personnel were equipped with the most advanced high-tech weapons and equipment in the world. Li Jing stepped on the ground, and the open space was made of steel and was extremely bright. There were all kinds of high-tech cutting-edge equipment placed around, and several scientific researchers were discussing something around an extremely sophisticated instrument not far away. Li Jing didn't care about all this, but only looked at the center of the sophisticated instrument. Blue, dazzling and dreamy bright blue, a blue cube like a crystal gem was sleeping soundly in the center of the instrument. Yes, sleeping soundly. The first time Li Jing saw the cosmic cube, the feeling it gave him was that it was sleeping soundly. Even though it had been studied and its energy had been extracted, it was obviously just a useless tickling for it. Da. The sound of footsteps came softly, and most of the people in the field turned their heads to look at the source of the sound. But before they could see clearly, they felt that their eyes went dark, and then they fell to the ground in dizziness. Li Jing took a step and slowly walked to the instrument where the cosmic cube was placed. Even the researchers around him who didn't look at Li Jing were all unconscious at this time. Illusion. Li Jing had already practiced it to the state where he could use it freely in every move. The footsteps were transmitted through the air, which already contained an illusion that made people fall into a coma. And not only that, vision, hearing, taste, touch, smell, as long as the five senses can be touched, they are all under Li Jing's control at all times. With a light sound, it was Li Jing who grabbed the cosmic cube directly, and the cosmic cube with huge energy was eroding Li Jing's palm all the time. It was useless. The energy emitted by the cosmic cube itself was not enough to pose any threat to Li Jing's body. Li Jing was suddenly stunned, because his attempt to put the cosmic cube into the tattoo space had failed. Interesting. With a slight smile, the pattern in Li Jing's eyes had changed, and a space vortex suddenly appeared from his palm. Bang! With a vibration, the cosmic cube was not put into the different time and space, but bounced and fell to the ground. As expected, Li Jing's face did not change, and he roughly figured out what was going on. Chapter 195 II. The cosmic cube, which is the existence of controlling the power of space, will naturally exclude other small-scale different time and space. Therefore, whether it is the thousands of cubic meters of the tattoo space or Li Jing's own different time and space, it is too weak for the powerful cosmic cube, and it is not enough to carry the power level it possesses. But this is also just right, since it cannot be taken away by space. It also proves that this cosmic cube is like the most conspicuous locator, so there is no need to find anything attractive to lay out, because the cosmic cube will be the best beacon. Picking up the cosmic cube on the ground, Li Jing put it back in place. Now is not the time to move it, otherwise, before the enemy does anything, he will become the object of the moth sumo. What's more, the mind gem on Loki's scepter must also be allowed to appear. The establishment of the bridge of time and space cannot be expected, but returning empty-handed is not the purpose of time and space travel. Li Jing disappeared, and the underground base returned to peace again, as if nothing had happened at all. Of course, except for the people who were still lying on the ground unconscious. Go, go, go. Click the sound of the bolt being pulled. Tap the sound of the military boots stomping on the ground. In just a blink of an eye, a group of fully armed soldiers surrounded this underground space, occupying advantageous terrains and alert. Hold to listen, people inside, you are surrounded. Okay. The one-eyed black man Nick Fury waved his hand to interrupt the shouting of the sergeant beside him. The previous electronic equipment suddenly malfunctioned, and then the location of the cosmic cube lost contact with the headquarters. Now, except for the people falling to the ground in the surveillance picture, everything else seems to have returned to normal. Even the gamma waves emitted by the cosmic cube have not changed. This proves that the cosmic cube is still there, and there has been no theft or anything like that. As for the incident of people falling to the ground, further investigation and verification are needed. Nick Fury waved his hand to abandon the sergeant's obstruction, and slowly approached the scene of the accident with only a pistol. Everything was normal until he walked near the cosmic cube, and nothing unexpected happened. Search all the facilities here to find the possibility of invasion, and wake these people up. They are not dead yet. Fury put away his guns and waved his hands to signal to act as soon as possible. The army withdrew from the space and implemented alert, while another group of scientific researchers entered the field again and conducted a careful investigation according to Fury's orders. Fingerprints, air, waves, and sound lines were constantly verified and filtered through various precision instruments. Dozens of researchers conducted a thorough carpet search here. There must be no problem with the cosmic cube. As time passed, the emergency operation also reached its final stage, and those unconscious people had already woken up, but the results that could be obtained from their mouths could not make Fury, the highest commander on the scene, relax his brows, because these people didn't know anything at all. They didn't even see the appearance of the people coming at the time. They just heard a few slight footsteps, and they had already fainted and fell to the ground. But that's why Fury had to frown even more, because if it was just the energy leakage generated by the cosmic cube, or other environmental factors that caused the people to be comatose, that would be the best result. And now, the comatose personnel's statements are consistent, which is enough to prove that it was a man-made incident. Man-made. Someone was able to break through the blockade of the base without anyone noticing. How could such a thing be indifferent? Everyone is on alert. Activate the highest protection system. Seal the scene. No one is allowed to leave without permission or act alone. Yes, sir. This space is no longer safe. Although we don't know how the newcomers entered, the cosmic cube must be moved. Nick Fury launched an emergency transfer order, and Li Jing, who had already left the base, had already found a place to settle down in New York City. There are still a few months before the evil god Loki arrives, and everything is still in time. There is no need to be too anxious. During this period of time, all the trivial matters can be solved together, such as the integration of information, the collection of genes of people with abilities, and the problems that have not been solved yet. But plans can never keep up with changes. What Li Jing didn't expect was that the 5 people in front of him were direct and straightforward, which was somewhat beyond his expectations. My name is Moro. You can call me I. If your system is not disabled, then you should also know my origins. The words came from the leading young man, who was wearing a straight black striped suit and had a stern face. Behind this cold young man, there were 4 young men and women in different clothes. These people were none other than the people from the Lonely Light universe in the picture captured by Li Jing through the satellite. Li Jing could understand the words from the young man, not because of the gifted language fish worth 2,000 points, but because the language used by the young man was basically Chinese on Earth. I didn't expect you to come to my door so soon. In the exquisite and luxurious room, Li Jing, who was sitting on the sofa, smiled slightly and did not get up. Indeed, how did these people bypass the monitoring of the nano-worms, and find this place in such a short time? Li Jing has not figured out any clues yet. Yisai, never waste anything when doing things. Besides, it's too easy to find you. It's not that difficult. Oh? Li Jing smiled slightly. Then why did you come to me? Is it about the system? No. Yisai shook his head slightly. Maybe you don't understand. In the universe we live in, although there are many people with systems, it is not an easy thing to meet in trillions of time and space. Not to mention that you are an outsider using the system. We usually call you wanderers. Yisai stood with his hands behind his back, speaking in a serious manner, and the 4 people behind him also looked like door gods, and rarely did they make any other small movements. Wanderer? This name is really not very good. Things are getting more and more interesting. Li Jing smiled again and stretched out his hand to signal the young man Yisai to continue explaining. I believe you know a lot about the origin of the system. You are lucky to get it and use it freely. I paused for a moment and continued. The purpose of our trip is to help both parties, who are strangers but have a connection with each other, to have a good start of cooperation. Chapter 196 First Meeting. Cooperation? Yes. How do you cooperate? Yisai shook his head slightly, and smiled lightly, which was very rare, but it seemed a bit inconsistent with his blood-red eyes. There are many resources in time and space, and it is very difficult to fully utilize them with one person's ability. If you and I cooperate, we will surely be able to achieve great things in this level 5 time and space. Li Jing nodded slightly. It sounds good, but I still have a few things I don't understand. I hope you can answer them. Please tell me. The young man named Yisai stretched out his hand. How did you find me, and how did you get here? If you don't figure this out, I believe that even if we cooperate with each other, I can't really trust you. Yisai smiled again. It's very simple. Through the system, I can find the approximate location of the other owner. As for coming here, Moya. Yes. A girl in a black women's suit stepped forward in response. She stood beside Yisai and looked very tall, buzzed with the girl as the center. A strange wave suddenly erupted, and a transparent and colorless protective shield slowly formed in the air. This is a spiritual secret method that can be used to shield the invasion and interference of the outside world. Of course, its ability is more than that. From the outside, it is impossible to discover the situation inside this layer of protection, Yisai explained, and Li Jing nodded slightly, and his expression did not change from beginning to end, because as soon as this ability appeared, Li Jing already understood the principle. He didn't know it before, and he just didn't think about it. But Li Jing was already familiar with the use of this kind of mental power. The general barrier uses its own energy as the basic foundation, but this girl named Moya is using mental power to create this kind of barrier like use. It's just a little trick. If you are interested, I can give you several abilities associated with this ability. Yisai waved his hand, signaling Moya behind him to put away the mental barrier. No merit, no reward. As the beginning of cooperation, you can use this ability to exchange for something. For example, if you need my help, just ask. Li Jing stood up, walked to a wine rack next to him, took out 2 high-foot glasses, and opened a bottle of hardcover vodka. May I know what your name is, sir? Just call me Kigaku. Li Jing poured 2 glasses of wine, walked to the young man named Ai, and handed him a glass. Thank you, Mr. Kigaku is a very generous person. Since you said so, we should also talk about the cooperation in detail and frankly. In addition, I have a few questions to ask you. No problem. Li Jing smiled slightly and raised his glass. You're welcome. The young man returned the gift. Ai has experienced time travel dozens of times, and after such a long time of contact with various races, many different languages, etiquette, habits, and taboos between races, none of which would be difficult for him. Moreover, every time he traveled through time and space, Yisai had already developed a habit, that is, every time he arrived at a new place, he would first capture a certain number of natives to extract memories and obtain effective information. This time was no exception. After completing these preparations, Yisai and others easily found the location of Li Jing with the help of the system's search ability, but the subsequent detection report forced him to give up his initial rigid idea. Yisai looked at the smiling man in front of him. Except for his somewhat cold appearance, there was nothing wrong with him. Moreover, his words and deeds did not seem like a person with too strong martial power. However, what Yisai still remembers vividly is the bright red number displayed on the detector, 540,000 combat power. You know, the 4 capable warriors behind him. The highest combat power among them is only 120,000. I wish the cooperation goes smoothly and we can achieve the fruits of our common victory. Happy cooperation. Li Jing and Yisai raised their glasses together. This can be regarded as a preliminary agreement on cooperation. Although it is only a verbal agreement, it is a good start anyway. As for what kind of results will be produced in the future, I believe that both of them have a scale in their hearts. The negotiation time this time was not short, it was a full few hours. After the 2 sides exchanged contact information and Li Jing persuaded them to stay in vain, Yisai and the other 5 also said goodbye and left. After Yisai and others disappeared completely, Li Jing's face turned from relaxed to cold. These people had escaped the monitoring of nanoworms before, but they did not escape Li Jing's own perception. Since they entered the range of 10 kilometers, their every move has been under Li Jing's control. As the saying goes, if you are not kind enough to show your kindness, you are either a traitor or a thief. If you come up to talk about cooperation without any relatives or friends, you either have some intention or have other purposes. Li Jing sat in his original position, with something moving in his mind. The waiting time was not long, but the butler in the system appeared in front of Li Jing out of thin air. Butler, Master Z, do you have something to ask? You should know that when I come to this kind of place, a part of sus points will be consumed every moment. Li Jing's face was normal, and he waved his hand slightly. Why can the people in the Lonely Lamp universe find my location, but I can't seem to do it now? High-level Master Z has this ability. The system upgrades below level 7 do not require sus points, and their promotion speed will appear faster. Is that so? It seems that everything has pros and cons. The butler shook his head slightly. Master Z, the superior system has a certain crushing ability against the systems of the 6 levels below. Whether it is sus points or the creation furnace, these are the existences that low-level systems dare not imagine. Don't treat the pearls as gravel. Li Jing nodded slightly. Butler, there are 2 more questions. Do systems below level 7 have the ability to search for the history of time and space? Now that we belong to the same time and space, can you specifically analyze the system level of the other party? Master Z, systems below level 7 do not have the ability to search history. As for the system level used by the visitors this time, it is level 5. They belong to the same team and there is only one system. Li Jing nodded again. Got it? I'll come to you if there's anything. Master Chooser, don't underestimate any opponent. Although the person who came this time is only a mid-level Master Chooser, I can sense that he has become a high-level Master Chooser. The number of times he has experienced time and space is far more than you think. The butler disappeared, and the last sentence also entered Li Jing's ears. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 197 Group of 5. Li Jing sat alone on the sofa, thinking about the changes and gains and losses of this series of events. People from the Lonely Lamp universe cannot be trusted. This is not only his own opinion, but also the message conveyed by the housekeeper. I and Moya are two of the 5 known names, and their respective ability information still needs a battle to obtain effective verification. As for this battle, only a simple introduction is needed to implement it, and this introduction, there is something that is both ready-made and easy to use. Li Jing smiled slightly. Resources. The Cosmic Cube. Systems below level 7 require various resources to maintain operation, so this consumption is also very huge. And the Cosmic Cube, which is said to have almost infinite energy, is enough to become a very good tempting cake. Maybe, there is no need for me to take action at all. Li Jing looked up and looked out the window. At this time, New York had a clear sky and a cheerful weather, but the people on the street were busy rushing for time, and they had no time to care about the people or things passing by. 10 kilometers away from where Li Jing was, the Yisai 5, who were dressed in the same way as others, were standing on the street, looking a little out of tune with the busy crowd around them. Captain, that guy named Kigaku doesn't look that good, does he? Why should we cooperate with him? A burly man spoke in a language that was not from Earth, and the crowd passing by him did not even turn around to look at him. Tovi, the captain naturally has his own considerations. Besides, how can a character with a combat power of 540,000 be simple? Use your poor brain to think carefully before you speak, otherwise even if the 100 of you rush up, it will only be a waste of the captain's training of you. Cass, you gender-neutral guy. If the captain wasn't here, I would tear your stinky mouth apart. Shut up. A cold shout came from a female voice. The two turned their heads and saw that it was Moya standing next to Ai who interrupted them. Tovi and Cass seemed to have a tacit understanding and kept silent. Even if they were members of the same team, even if there were only 5 people, there was still class oppression here. Captain, what should we do next? Moya spoke. She had completely sealed this place with a mental barrier. Ordinary people couldn't easily find them. And even if there was enough force to break through this barrier, she would notice and discover it at the first time. Cooperation is only a temporary measure. After all, the other party has good combat power. If we force it, our losses will not be too small. Humphrey, how can an outsider have such a high energy system? Ai's face suddenly changed, and his blood-red eyes exuded a chilling cold breath. What about us? According to their understanding of each other, Moya obviously understood what Ai meant. Yes, this time and space has extremely rich resources, and the fighting people here cannot be underestimated. We can cooperate with that guy first and use his force to open the way for us. In the end, that is the best time for us to gain on both sides. Well, the captain still considers it comprehensively. Moya nodded, but her eyes looked to the side. A person who had never said anything from beginning to end. This is a woman. Moya already has a very beautiful face. At this time, put together with this woman, it has become a foil like a green leaf. Thin eyebrows, phoenix eyes, a beautiful nose, and cherry lips, combined together, form a flawless and delicate face. As if she felt the piercing gaze, the delicate woman frowned slightly, glanced at Moya casually, and turned her head away without saying a word. Ella, don't you have anything to say? I tilted her head slightly and looked at the delicate woman not far away. Well, the captain still considers everything. The voice was crisp, like a clear spring. The delicate woman named Ella looked at I's red eyes without showing any weakness, and then smiled slightly. "Is it okay, Captain?" I frowned slightly. Although he had heard too many similar answers, it still made people so uncomfortable every time. Obviously perfunctory. Using this kind of voice to express it is simply a waste of talent. This. I has not responded yet, but Moya on the side can't stand it. But she obviously doesn't know how to describe the guy in front of her. As a woman, there is a gap, and now she is using her words to perfunctory. What is this? Is he saying that his words are useless? Damn it. Okay, no one is allowed to mess with me until the matter is done, otherwise, you know my tricks. Yisai glanced coldly, including all four people. Got it, Captain? Understood. Yes, Captain, the three responded, except for Ella. Yisai was not surprised and automatically ignored Ella's existence, and then spoke again. Let's leave here first. We must get the ultra-high energy reaction detected this time and the advanced system on that guy. Yes. The people around were still passing by here in a hurry. Even if they touched the spiritual barrier set up by Moya, they slid by without any consciousness, and they didn't realize that there was still an existence here that was like being into time and space with them. Until the barrier disappeared, the flow of people on the street did not change at all. Everything passed by and left in a hurry as usual. The five people disappeared, while Li Jing once again began to retreat. This time, the training time was 3 months. Li Jing needed to carefully sort out several problems of his own. One was to solve the problem of raising summoned beasts in different time and space, and the other was the problem of developing the utilization rate of the brain. No matter what, Li Jing would not use the furnace of creation to develop his brain for himself, because there was really no safety guarantee, which was equivalent to directly handing his life over to the system for processing. The last question was about the physical training method and the road to go in the future. Chakra was cultivated to this level, which was considered to have reached the peak of the pyramid. Later, in addition to purifying the energy in his body in order to reach the level of Kaguya Otsutsuki, Li Jing still needed to open up other farther roads by himself. These problems are all problems that are about to be faced. If they cannot be solved as soon as possible, they will cause huge troubles and obstacles to the speed of future development. Therefore, even if nothing can be done within 3 months, these things must be sorted out so that there will be fewer detours on the road of future training. Chapter 198, Confusing. Outside the New York City, there is an independent luxury villa. The owner of this villa has been controlled by nanoworms and can only do things according to Li Jing's instructions. After expelling these idlers, Li Jing began to practice formally. Chakra is nothing more than an energy system. Before entering this time and space, Li Jing spent more than 10,000 points out of the 45,000 points he spent on the knowledge of the exercises. Most of the ordinary exercises are only a few hundred points. Only the rare high-level ones will be raised to thousands of points. Most of the exercises that Li Jing bought this time are ordinary exercises worth only a few hundred points. Because what Li Jing needs is to absorb all the knowledge, not to really practice them. If they are all replaced by high-level exercises, it would be too extravagant. There are a total of 20 sets of exercises, 15 of which are energy system exercises, and the remaining 5 sets are all about the exercises and explanations of body training. All these exercises are stored in Li Jing's mind. In this specially built large secret room, he moved his mind, and 10 split bodies slowly changed from under his feet. The split body itself does not have an independent personality, but Li Jing can use the main body as a remote control, or create a small brain in the brain of the classified body, so that the split body can act according to the main body's orders, and the split body with a brain will also have certain analytical and thinking abilities. Speaking of which, this kind of split body has a certain probability of rebellion in nature, but the mind can, but the body cannot, because the cells that can be remotely controlled are all Li Jing's own cells. The composition of this body is under Li Jing's control at all times. It only takes a thought to destroy and disappear, and there is no chance for a new personality to appear with a 1 in 10,000 chance. Moreover, the emergence of a new personality requires a sound soul composition. In this regard, the conditions given by Li Jing to the split body do not allow it at all. unless a great opportunity falls from the sky and happens to fall on this split body. Li Jing sits cross-legged to practice the spiritual practice Taiyan Shenju, while the 10 split bodies do not carry any energy and practice the various practices given by Li Jing from scratch. There are physical training and energy system training. What Li Jing has to do is to verify the truth with practice. Uzumaki Naruto, whose unique talent allows him to use the shadow clone technique as a bug, and Li Jing's method is even more amazing than his. Just ask, who can practice more than 10 kinds of skills at the same time without worrying about any problems? Perhaps only Li Jing, who can practice self-control to this level, can do this, and this is just 10 clones. If it is not just for the first time now, Li Jing can let hundreds of clones practice at the same time. Time flies, and 3 months are about to end in a blink of an eye. During this period, Li Jing only contacted the II-5 once, and the rest of the time was spent on practicing. 3 months. Even if 10 clones practice 10 skills at the same time, it is too slow. In the end, Li Jing simply used hundreds of clones, and not only that, during the practice, as long as Li Jing found how the meridians in the body would change to be more suitable for this kind of practice, he would use self-control to modify himself to achieve the purpose of catering to this practice. Because what Li Jing needs is to find out the survival of the fittest of various exercises, the various strange uses of the human meridians, and the valuable experience generated by these cultivation processes. When everything has been experienced, the combination of these experiences can allow Li Jing to have a clearer idea and direction for the next step. Boss, the news of the new trial team has been delivered. Well, notify them to gather here. Got it, boss? In the living room of the luxurious villa, Li Jing took a glass of red wine handed over by the servant, put it to his lips and took a sip. After 3 months of careful consideration, Li Jing's original intention has changed a little again, because the previous several purposes were all based on the interests of external objects. But now, what he is considering is to solve his own problems as the first choice. That is to say, the previous data, gene samples, or the magical items with great power such as the cosmic magic cube. Li Jing has already put them in the position of being solved by the way. The most important thing is that he still wants to spend time to sort out his own cultivation first, and this time, even if he stays in this time and space for a few more years, it is worth it. Spirit, body, and energy. The 3 systems are divided into 3 types of exercises. No matter how good other people's things are, they are useless if they don't belong to you. What's more, if you can develop a complete set of exercises that belong to you, that would be the most suitable and best solution. Li Jing didn't have to wait too long. In less than an hour, Xiang Yun's team of 4 was led to Li Jing by the servants. Boss, Xiang Yun said. Well, tell me what you have done during this period. Yes, Xiang Yun responded and spoke again. Boss, during this period, in addition to collecting some information to the best of our ability, the biggest gain is to find clues about one of the 6 infinity stones. Oh? Li Jing was a little surprised. You know, each of the 6 infinity stones has incredible power, which is not something that ordinary things can compare to. Go on. Yes, you should have seen the movie Thor 2. The red energy body called Ether should be the legendary power gem. And the key figure in the movie, Thor's girlfriend, has been found by us now. Yeah, Li Jing nodded slightly, but then frowned. He didn't know much about Marvel Comics, and he had watched the movie plots a few times like the audience. What's more, this is the real world. Comics and movies only play a certain auxiliary role. You can't trust them 100% and rely on them. Otherwise, you probably won't know how you died. And what made Li Jing frown was not just that. The Earth was just an insignificant speck of dust in the universe. How could it have such great magic power that in a short period of time, 3 infinite gems that could subvert the universe appeared? The situation was more complicated than expected. The space gem, the mind gem, and the power gem were just the results of inference based on the information heard from a few places. As for whether the gem on Loki's scepter is the mind gem, and whether the ether is the power gem, further verification is needed. Otherwise, if such a small place like the Earth could have so many gems in such a short period of time, it would be hard for anyone to believe that there is no conspiracy. Chapter 199. Sitting firmly on the fishing platform, infinity gems are divided into 6: space, time, soul, power, mind, and reality. Each gem has absolute control in its own aspect. With the space gem, the user can instantly move himself or all objects to any existing space at will, and can also distort or reorder the space according to the user's own will. The time gem has the ability to allow the user to reach any existing time point, whether it is the distant past or the distant future. And this is just the initial use. If the user's ability is strong enough, he can use this gem to manipulate time, modify cause and effect, and even use it as a weapon. The power is enough to plunge the whole world into an infinite cycle of time vortex. The soul gem can steal, manipulate or modify souls, and even the existence of the dead is no exception. The power gem allows the user to manipulate all the power and energy that he tries to control. The user will have invincible physical attack and defense capabilities, and can also copy all existing physical superpowers. In addition, this gem also has the effect of amplifying the abilities of other gems. The Mind Stone has absolute control over the mind. Using it can greatly enhance the user's spiritual power and mental power, allowing the user to enter the minds of others. If other gems are used to enhance the power of the Mind Stone, it can even enter the minds of all existing things at the same time. The Reality Stone, the strongest gem in legend, is also the most dangerous gem, because this gem cannot be used alone, otherwise it will directly become a devastating disaster for the user, and its ability is to transform all ideas into reality. In front of it, all natural laws and scientific codes will be like waste and meaningless. Ding. After reading the information integrated by the sky again and putting it away, Li Jing's fingers gently tapped the armrest of the sofa, and did not speak at the first time. The known infinity stones, the cosmic cube is the space stone, and the Loki scepter is the mind stone, but it has yet to be verified. The rest is the newly discovered power stone, the ether particle. Xiang Yun's analysis that the ether is the power stone is indeed correct, because Li Jing has also seen the movie Thor 2 inches, in which the power of the ether is indeed more compound than the description of the power stone. Although this so-called absolute physical power was interpreted as somewhat unworthy of its name, the power of ether was indeed more inconsistent with the description of other gems. Space, mind, power, 3 gems appeared at the same time, and the coincidence was too conspicuous. After a long silence, Li Jing stopped the movement of his fingers. You are responsible for following up on this matter. After confirming the exact location of the ether particles, report to me. After a slight pause, Li Jing spoke again. Remember, the power of the infinity stones is not something you can control. If anyone does not listen to the warning, I will make him feel worse than death. Yes, sir. Yes, yes, yes. Xiang Yun and the other 4 bowed their heads in response. Li Jing nodded slightly and waved. Go. When the matter is done, I will increase your strength and make you my real right-hand man. Yes. The 4 saluted again, led by Xiang Yun, and slowly withdrew from the villa. Boss, these 4 newcomers are unreliable. Not only are they weak in combat, but they are also almost untrustworthy. Danyan said, obviously distrusting Xiang Yun and other newcomers. Trustworthiness? Li Jing shook his head and smiled. He never believed in such things, because in his opinion, there were too few people who would not betray, and most of them did not betray because the price and temptation were not big enough. What's more, there was no friendship or family communication between Li Jing and Xiang Yun and others. If there was any, it was probably just coercion and hatred. No need. As long as I remain standing and as long as I am still in control of their lives, they will naturally obey me. Besides, I don't have the habit of placing the probability of success or failure on the illusory trust or the intangible affection. Li Jing waved his hand slightly, but his tone was firm. In his opinion, it was one thing to need an assistant to help, and it was another thing to put one's life, property, success or failure on others. These 2 things could not be compared at all. It's so complicated. After a long while, the voice of the sky finally uttered 4 words. Obviously, with its supercomputing power, It could not calculate the complex thoughts of humans, because this was simply a question without a result. Boss, what should we do next? Most of the various materials have been sorted out during this period. It is estimated that S.H.I.E.L.D. has discovered our existence, and the time for the evil god Loki to arrive should be about now. Don't worry, things always have to be done step by step. If you want to fish, how can you collect the bait early? Li Jing smiled slightly, stood up and walked into the secret room used for training before. History is in motion, things have not yet been fully revealed, and it is not his side that should be anxious. Li Jing is planning to practice in this world for a few years, and it would be best if he could completely solve his own problems. As for the others, they are just things that come along with it. Li Jing's prediction was right. In 3 months, the Lonely Lamb 5, who did not know the direction of history, were really impatient at this time. They did not know the subsequent development like Li Jing, and could only make plans by calculating the gains and losses. 3 months. It has almost reached the limit. 100 kilometers away from where Li Jing is located, in a sparsely populated wasteland, there is a military base with extremely strict security. Aircraft, tanks, armored vehicles, anti-aircraft missiles, and anti-ground missiles have maintained this place so tightly that no birds can fly in. And not far from this military base, on a not very conspicuous low mountain, there are 5 young men standing at the highest point of the mountain without any cover. Captain, the stuff is inside. Why don't we do it this time? The voice of the person who spoke was very familiar. It was the II-5 who had not appeared for 3 months. Big guy, don't disturb the captain's thinking. Your brain will only cause trouble for the captain, and you can't do anything else. Damn it, hermaphrodite, stop talking to me about these crap. Who do you think you are? If you do this again, be careful that I will tear you apart. Enough, otherwise, both of you will die. I shouted coldly, obviously completely impatient. 3 months, in this state of doing nothing, not to mention that Tovi and Cass are getting more and more intense. Even I himself is getting more and more angry. Chapter 200 Loki arrives. This kind of thing is not because Yisai and others are too narrow-minded, but because Li Jing's existence has given them an invisible pressure. If they act before Li Jing, they will not only expose their own intelligence, but also fail to achieve the purpose of using Li Jing. Therefore, although waiting will not accomplish anything, it is better than doing more and making more mistakes. Yisai had a cold face, and the coldness in his eyes was brewing. They and Li Jing were both outsiders in this time and space, and they had no handle on each other. In addition to an oral agreement and an unnecessary cooperation agreement, even the communication was only once in 3 months. Moreover, it was Yisai who took the initiative. Humphrey, Captain, that guy has no sincerity to join forces with us at all. We have to wait for him to make the first move. Isn't this a waste of all our energy on such a useless thing? Moyo said, and the anger was already on his face. Go back. Without answering Moyo's words, Yisai turned around and left with a flick of his sleeves. Understand? Of course, Yisai understands the truth, but it's like playing chess. He can't hold back and takes the initiative. It seems to be a bold and direct action, but in essence, he loses the first move. Although both sides don't know each other's strength, they have reached their level. Naturally, there will be a scale in their hearts to measure each other. If there is no overwhelming advantage, then this first move that tests patience will become a crucial step. Whoever takes action first will be exposed, and whoever reveals the bottom first will lose the first move. It is called cooperation, but both sides already know in their hearts that this is just a small trick of expediency, which is not enough to restrict and limit both parties. If there is a chance, whether it is Li Jing or Yisai, they will definitely attack without hesitation and kill the other party. 2 months passed again. Li Jing practiced without any movement, and Yisai never showed his body. But on such a quiet night, a big thing happened in the underground of the military base of S.H.I.E.L.D., where the cosmic cube was stored. The evil god Loki appeared, and not only was the cosmic cube taken away, but also the 9th level agent Hawkeye and the physicist Eric Severger who was studying the cosmic cube were taken away. In the end, even the entire base was destroyed by the energy leaked from the cosmic cube. Nick Fury, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., was slightly injured, and his deputy, the 9th level agent Hill, was also injured. The base was destroyed, and the number of casualties of other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents was not less than hundreds. Fury tracked the cosmic cube to no avail. After returning to the S.H.I.E.L.D. branch, he immediately launched an emergency dispatch order, not only to recruit and use the space carrier, but also to issue an order to summon agents from various countries to take their positions, including the famous Black Widow of S.H.I.E.L.D., Natasha Romanoff. The next action is to find a way to gather a powerful team with special abilities. As for the members of the team, Fury had the answer in his mind several years ago. S.H.I.E.L.D. is still operating in an orderly manner, and this series of major events and the emergency deployment of various orders, all of which have not escaped the monitoring of the two parties. Outside the New York City, in a villa, Jing and Dai sat opposite each other and talked. Next to them, there was a screen playing real-time pictures, and the picture showed the situation inside S.H.I.E.L.D. Jing and Dai. At this time, the two parties have gathered together again in nearly half a year, and the friendly negotiations between the two sides did not produce even the slightest sense of strangeness and disobedience. Mr. Kigaku, since we are cooperating, shouldn't we show some sincerity? After reminiscing about the past, I suddenly changed the subject. Sincerity? Jing smiled slightly. What sincerity do you want? Stop talking nonsense. Your system should be a superior system, which can view the history of time and space. Shut up. With a cold face, interrupted the interruption of the strong man Tovi behind him. Tovi, you have become more and more daring these days. Now you dare to speak rudely even on such occasions. I stood up and looked directly at Tovi, who bowed his head and dared not answer. Do you want to die? Tovi, answer me. Captain, I was wrong. I deserve to die. Papa Tovi trembled, knelt on the ground and began to slap himself. Tovi, you have been with me for so long, you should know my character. Don't do these useless things. Okay. Having watched enough of the show, Jing interrupted Dai and others, because he suddenly felt that this was very boring. A red face, a white face, the Chinese ancestors had already researched this stuff many years ago. Let him talk. I want to hear what this Tovi can say. Jing smiled slightly, sitting on the sofa. He didn't move at all. I turned around, his face changed slightly, and then he sat down again and waved to the back. Tovi observed the expression, stood up silently, and left. I also have a few questions for Mr. Kigaku. As for the matter of Tovi, I'm sorry to make you laugh. I spoke with a wide range of words, and simply mentioned Tovi's matter. Jing smiled again and ignored these unimportant trivia. Tell me about it. I will answer the questions I can answer. I nodded slightly. According to my judgment, your system should be above level 6. But I don't know if you are willing to tell me the specific level information. There's nothing wrong with this. It's indeed 2 levels higher than yours, a level 7 system. Jing did not hesitate, and reported the system data very straightforwardly. If you want to fish, how can you do it without bait? Jing's straightforwardness made Dai slightly stunned, and then he came back to his senses and spoke again. Level 7. I admire Mr. Kigaku's honesty. If we can query the history of time and space, then we will be able to do more. Moreover, there will be no disputes over the distribution of interests between you and me, because what you need is sus material, and what I need is various energy resources, such as. Yisai showed a happy expression and turned to look at the screen beside him. The picture on the screen just showed the image of Loki appearing and snatching the cosmic cube. Haha, that's true. Jing smiled slightly, but he was thinking about Yisai's words in his mind. It is unknown how many times and spaces people in the Lonely Lamp universe have experienced. The number of superior systems must be extremely limited, and judging from Yisai's performance, he was also happy after knowing that his system was level 7. All this shows that there should be no such thing as movies in the Lonely Lamp universe. As for whether it is true or not, further testing is needed. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.